3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Nerds and Words podcast. This is episode 48. I'm your host today, Potion Shop. You have to deal with my terrible intro. Just glad to be back with everybody today. We have a lot to talk about. We have some exploits that went on, and we have some amazing costumes that got added to video this week. But before we get into all of that, we have Good Vibes Guy here and Kerr. How you guys doing?
What's going on, man? Doing pretty good. Had a very, very busy week. And the 1 week that I've been away, like a bunch of crazy shit happened. So
it's like how it feels. Like it's like you take one little it won't be that bad. Like I got a little busy this week, it'll be fine. And then you come back and you're like, all right, they got this and that. What is going on anymore? Like what's this like new class thing? I don't know. You know. I feel you. Like what happened? I got tied up in Destiny, and when I came back from Destiny after like 2 weeks, I did 2 weeks to get into the raid and everything. I came back, I was just like completely out of it. It was like the whole market had flipped on its head, and it's just a completely different experience. And I think that's why no one quits BDO forever. That's why I tell people all the time. I think that's why no one quits BDO forever, because when you come back, it's just a whole new experience again. Even if you think you've played the game a lot.
The joys of weekly updates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. And then they had this weird crossover event. I don't know how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about them doing a Bugatti sponsorship in BDO?
Wait, you're telling me you didn't buy a Bugatti from this? Dude, I bought like 3 of them. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the only it's the only R2 you're gonna ever have to get a $30 Bugatti or whatever it is.
Dude, the horse only has one wheel. They didn't even put 4 wheels on the horse. It has one wheel, bro.
What's a spare? Yeah, it's got
they gotta leave room for the T1 through T10. You know, in upcoming updates.
Bro, that's so wild.
T4 is when you get your 4th wheel.
T4 Bugattis. So I have alerts on my phone or whatever by default of whenever a popular post is made for something for one of the subreddits I follow, and I think it was Wednesday, I just get flooded with Bugatti memes in BDO, and I was like, am I missing something? And then sure enough, they actually fucking added it when I checked.
I think that I don't think it's bad that they have a Bugatti ad in BDO. I think the problem is that the way that they addressed it to the end user didn't seem cool or interesting. It seemed stupid and ignorant and kind of. It just didn't feel like it was ever in touch, right? I think if you had done it something different, I don't know how much horsepower exactly a Bugatti has, but it's 1,000 something, right? It's something ridiculous. And I think
crazy.
Yeah, it would have been way cooler if they're like, hey, what do you think about 1 horse? That's a lot of speed. But what about 100 horses? What about 1,600 horses? Well, that's how many horses are in the new Bugatti. And we thought that might be cool to do in Black Desert Online. And you could just have a video of 1,600 horses just running across Black Desert, and you're like, that's a lot of horses. Want to see what that looks like in real life? And then I think that would not be perfect, but that would be way cooler than some costume you can't dye that and the horse that is it doesn't look good, you know? The average person's that's not cool. So
yeah, I feel like their delivery was a bit off. Even if they didn't even go to that link, but they made it so the Bugatti blue was a special limited edition color that you could dye your armor and different things like that, right? And they didn't plaster the logo on the chest. That's the biggest thing I don't like, is that you had a giant Bugatti logo just sitting on your chest. Yep. I think they should have taken the path of okay, this is a limited time dye, the Bugatti blue.
That would have been smart for sure, because lots of people would have loved to be well, maybe I'll use it one time. That looks really cool. You could give it some type of glow effect too. Also, people be oh man, I'll pay $30 for that. You know?
Yeah. And then it's so weird the way they did it, because people have been asking for actual armor for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the one time they put it in, it's associated with this Bugatti thing. So then it's people are definitely gonna buy it, because it's the first time you can get full armor without high heels on a female class, right?
Oh, it doesn't have high heels?
It doesn't have high heels.
Oh, what? Well, maybe this is maybe now they have the character model for the female without heels. So maybe we'll get some future costumes with using that. So I've been trying to figure out why they're doing this though. Like, do you think it's like the CEO or like some guy who has owned 30% of Pluribus is like, hey, I need to buy this and get $500,000 off my Bugatti or something? Like, what do you think is the deal here? Why are they doing this?
So working in partnerships, this deal intrigues me immensely because they're like, I mean, you guys touched on it. Like, there's just no possible way that this makes sense. Like, why they're like got like the target demographic doesn't match, the branding it doesn't fit at all between the like the game and the car. Like, it's just such a bizarre thing, and it feels like yeah, there was some connection between two salespeople at Pluribus and Bugatti, and they're like, yeah, this would be a cool idea. And then it was essentially like a pass down from a higher up, being like, hey, I got this contact for a sponsorship or a partnership,
Make it
and
happen.
Bugatti's interested. It's money, so make it happen. And then the dev team just like, well, I guess okay, is imagining what I'm is that's like probably what happened. Is
So like, what is the chance that one of the higher ups got a Bugatti, like the CEO? What's the chance, dude?
Zero, zero chance. It's more than likely that it's just like a connection sparked it. You know what I mean? Like either someone higher up at Pluribus and then somewhat high up at Bugatti, or just like a salesperson at Bugatti, or marketing person was like, they thought it'd be a cool thing to do, and then so they did a good.
Maybe it's like the Pluribus bucket list, right? It's like the Pluribus bucket list. They're like, all right, well, we got a porn star actor that represents DK, and we modeled it after that, and then we got like. Now we got race cars, check. We got a Netflix movie, check. Like, what else do we got to get? Like, we got to, you know what? We'll probably get like a plane, like a jet plane, or fly to space or something. That's what we'll do next. Like, I don't know. It's like, maybe they have like some silly bucket list of things they want to do, like say they've worked with or something.
I
don't know.
mean, like bucket lists are for personal reasons, not professional. Like, it's just a bad fit. Like, there's no way around it. Like, I don't like. What is the like Cursed? Yeah, totally. It like thematically, it's fantasy. It's a good fit. Anything anime obviously hits the target demographic. It's a good fit.
Sure.
Like, those kind of collaborations and crossovers make sense. And like Bugatti probably got a good amount of eyeballs, and I mean. Yeah, like they do these deals for eyeballs, pretty much. That's like the only metric that they care about, right? They're not actually. This will not drive sales whatsoever. It's just about getting the Bugatti name out. Which, I mean, to be fair, I haven't said probably the word Bugatti or thought of the brand whatsoever, like since I literally can't remember the last time I thought of them. So, to Pluribus's defense, it definitely got everybody's attention. Yeah, I mean? Like the amount of impressions, eyeballs, just in the amount of sales that the costume generated. There's definitely value there in Bugatti, but it's just like it just screams like a money business transaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the demograpic's weird, like you said, right? Like, how many BDO players do you think are gonna go buy a Bugatti now because of this ad or this crossover? It seems more like okay, we'll put your costume in the game, and then like they give them a kickback for how many they sell or something, right?
Yeah. So they may have a kickback deal. I'd be surprised, honestly. Like, that doesn't seem like it's pinching pennies for Bugatti at that point. You know what I mean? Like, they're a luxury car brand.
True.
What do they need? A couple, even like 100,000, even $1 million potentially. I don't think they would generate that much, but they don't need that money. They need eyeballs. And typically car brands at this point, everybody wants Twitch and gamer demographics are like prime demographics because we are, mid 20s to early 30s, like fairly decent income employees for the most part, or at least like emerging markets. So like we are the target demographic, and we're where you start thinking about buying a car. You like start entering that field, and so being in the top of mind is where these brands are trying to be. So it's not a terrible play. It's not a terrible play, but it's just
It's interesting
for like numbers and business. But just thematically, like it's a terrible fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could see if it was Toyota, right? Like Toyota, super reliable, super affordable. They go for the sell quantity over quality, right? It's super affordable. Most people can afford a Toyota. But the Bugatti was one that was like out of left field. I mean, I guess like Toyotas aren't as eye catching and aren't like wow, like driving so much like surprise and mystification. But like the Bugatti one was kind of weird.
I mean, I guess the only time I could see it might fit would be like BDO has the top 1% of the 1% has some money, and maybe one of those people will, inherit wealth and buy a Bugatti. Like that's a really one-off case, but like I think the idea of like investing into brand awareness, I think that's pretty huge because the amount of brand awareness that they got is, I mean, I'd say it's even cross. It's like genre almost. I mean, people in other games are talking about this because of how silly it is, but that brings the brand awareness to a whole new level. So I guess that's a net positive, right?
Yeah, it's an eyeball play for sure.
So that was I think that was pretty crazy. One of the other thing that changed this week was the marketplace bidding. This was kind of a fix because they had RMT going on, which is real money trading. In Korea, the players were complaining about pin black stars being traded among players or something. I don't know the full story of what happened there, but because of this, they disabled all pin weapons that were over 10 billion silver. So the fix for this week on the marketplace is that now you can pre-order items on the marketplace still, but when they get listed, they take 15 minutes to appear on the marketplace, giving anyone else 15 minutes from the notification, which is now in the game, to put a pre-order up on it also, which makes it way more competitive. And in addition to the 15 minutes to put up your pre-order, it's also random who it goes to, as if they're on the same price. So I don't think it's a perfect fix, but it is a huge step in the right direction, I believe. What do you guys think about it? Like, do you think it's good or it needs more work or what?
I think it's interesting. Yo, go ahead, Vibes. My bad.
No, that's not good. I was just wondering if you guys know, like, what is it? Was it just someone was saying that they were basically buying other people's weapons for RMT and then reselling them or something like that. Do you guys know like the specifics of what happened or any more?
I don't know the exact details. No.
So, speaking from a North America point of view, because this is something that's been going on a long time in North America, it's not as rampant nowadays because they had the Jay's hammers last December that pumped a lot of them into the economy, and you can't just get a hold of weaponry roll coupons like you used to. But like a year and a half ago, there would be times where people would pay literally $2,000 or $3,000 to have you list a pin black star to the marketplace so that they could buy it. I'm not sure how much of that goes on nowadays. It's actually happened a lot too. There's a couple streamers that are known to have sold their pin black stars that they made for like PayPal transactions. So I'm kind of surprised that Korea is just now catching on to people paying to like list, those high priced items. But I think it's an interesting solution because it kind of like it has an element of the old marketplace, like the old bid system where you'd list an item and it wouldn't list for 15 minutes. So it gives you a chance to like, get your bid in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an interesting fix.
Yeah, it's definitely not a terrible fix. Obviously nothing is going to actually fully stop RMT. But I mean, this will definitely help. And it seems like the old system wasn't bad because I mean, I remember back in the day, like, I don't know, like a Trimuskin got listed and then I needed it. And I was like, oh, I'm like 50 million silver away. Let me just go like clean out my bank and try and do everything I can in the next 10 minutes to try and. So like, it's not a bad fix. But I think there has to have been something that changed, right? There has to have been someone either spam selling it, stuff, or like they figured out some sort of exploit or something to make it happen way more frequently because I mean, like you said, Kurt, that's been going on for years. And
Yeah.
nobody can really stop that. but because it happens like kind of infrequently and whatnot, there must have been some sort of change. Either they found a way to like validate or found evidence of like just how much was going on, and they found some sort of indication of volume that they were like, oh crap, we actually have to do something immediately about this, or someone exploited, or something had to have changed. I think then just they just woke up and were like, oh wait, this is happening. We must fix this now.
Yeah, well, the Korean players definitely were the catalyst for this fix because they had like hundreds of them standing on the roof in like Velia and Caltheon, just like, fix it. So that was definitely the catalyst. I heard there was one guy who like kind of like got caught doing it or something like that, and was like a known person in the community, and that's what kind of sparked it. It was like somebody with screenshots of like who was doing what, and I was like, there's something along those lines. What kind of started it. I think one of the problems was that you can actually force the price to get lower on the marketplace temporarily. Because if you look at like Pin Blackstar main hand, you can actually see the price dips even though there's pre-orders at maximum price on Pin Blackstar main hand. The price actually dips several times, even though those pre-orders are up there. And even right now, it's only at 93 billion out of 99.5 billion, even though people have just been getting it. So I think there was some way that people were like getting the price to force lower or something, and I'm not sure exactly what that process was, but I think there was something like that was going on as well that they had a problem with.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it was more akin to duping, or like what was the issue back in the day, or maybe it still is an issue, I don't know, where you could like sell plus 15 and buy a plus 13 and make like profit or something like that. But then imagine that at the Penn Blackstar level, where instead of you making, like 10, 5, 10, 15 mil, you're making 5, 10, 15 bill per transaction. I'm guessing, like what you're saying, Potion, maybe that is the reason, which is like certainly, if someone found a way to manipulate the market, yeah, I think that's very reasonable to shut it down.
Yeah,
if they're
that makes sense.
just trading back and forth billions and billions of silver.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm really surprised how like swiftly they were like that they were like, okay, yo, we're gonna stop the sale of all 10 bill plus like weapons, right? I was really surprised that they actually like did some intervening, because a lot of the times when stuff like this goes on, they kind of just like, I don't know, I wouldn't say turn a blind eye, but they kind of just
whistling and look their way.
yeah, they kind of just sit there like they don't know or something, and then for it to sort itself out. So it was good to see that they actually like took a strong stance on something for the first time in a while.
I kind of hope they increase the price, because I feel like a lot less of this would happen if you could actually just have one sitting on the marketplace at a proper price. So that's kind of what I'd like to see. And also with all the inflation, it's just kind of made it where more people can have the money to actually buy one, which has made this pre-order issue even worse. One issue that I see with it is the now that you get notification, everybody's going to take down their pre-orders and then throw them on the one that got listed. So then there's going to be way more competition for the one that got listed. So like if there's 20 pre-orders up, maybe in the future, then notifications are off. Everybody's like, oh, take it down, put it up on the new one, and see who gets it. And it's just a lot more competition there. And I think that might result in some more negative feedback in the long run, depending on how much competition they get.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say put it up on the new one? You're saying like, so unless like there's 20 pre-orders for a Penn Blackstar short sword, and a Penn Blackstar short sword get listed, they would take it down and put it back up?
So basically, like, okay, so like, let's say I wanted a Penn Blackstar longsword, right? I'm the only pre-order on Penn Blackstar longsword. I have been for the last 4 months. Well, whenever someone lists one now, it lets the entire server know that one's about to go up in 15 minutes. So magically, it goes from one pre-order on the longsword to 15 on the longsword, because you know which one is going to be listed. So then everybody bids on it.
And with both exchange coupons, it entices people to just put the pre-order on whichever one they can get.
Yeah, for sure. Which, yes, that is a great way, like a great quick solution for them to combat that, right? Like, or at least for RMT, because yeah, you're right. That's I think exactly what they were going for. It is super unfortunate though, because that was like one of the things that was good about the new market, the central market, was that the people who have had it for 4 months where it worked to be the first pre-order up, to secure that spot, they were rewarded for that effort and like being the first, because they were essentially guaranteed to get the next one. Obviously, someone ruins it ruins it for everybody. So that's kind of unfortunate, but hopefully I don't know what a better solution would be though. That's the problem.
I think one of the things that I was thinking about is like, okay, so let's say you sell a pin Black Star on the marketplace, right? I think it'd be kind of interesting if once you sold it, the person that bought it instead gets a box that can be opened on any class that they want, and it will have that pin, like or that whatever level, right? So if you sell a pin Black Star longsword, the person that buys the pin Black Star longsword gets a box. That would be like an interesting thing. Obviously, there could be problems with that, but it's just kind of like an idea because it would be kind of weird. Like you can obviously get around it with tagging, but it's not like an end all be all.
I think the issue with that is then you start limiting class identity a lot more, and like classes that like a new class comes out and you just sell a Black Star and then it goes to any class. So then even though it's a brand new class, people have pin Black Stars day one. So I mean I think that would be maybe another good temporary solution. I think just raising the price though, like if you raise the price, let's say this raised the price to the cap price to like 300 bill, right? Well then it would probably go up to like 150, and then there would be some sitting on the marketplace, and then there wouldn't be much need for everybody to take down a Praetor and go and put on their one, because anybody who wanted one would have one, for the most part. Anybody who could afford one could have one.
So I'm like looking at this post that someone made. It was about possible RMT solutions. It says like, so there's one where they were talking about, like I said, turning it to a box. There's another one where they said that you could buy these, and NPC sells stones that would let you transmute it to a different class for a bunch of silver, a couple bill. I think that'd be fine, right? If someone has like a pin Black Star longsword and they wanted to pay like a couple billion silver to turn it into like a crossbow, maybe.
But what? Well, I thought they fixed the issue. Like, I don't think the issue is swapping between classes. Like, we have level 66, 315 AP sages in week 2 because of tagging and because of rerolls and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So like, that's not the issue. That's never been the issue. And they solved the issue of like selling a tamer weapon for 10 bill and buying, or turning it into a great sword and selling it for 15 bill. They solved that problem a while ago. So being able to swap classes isn't really the issue, I don't think, anymore.
Yeah, I mean the issue is that we don't really need 20 pre-orders on the same thing. Like I feel like maybe I feel like it's one of two things, right? One, like you still give a small advantage to people who are up there first. And the longer you're sitting on the same pre-order, the higher chance you get it. Something like that. Like instead of this being a complete random, maybe it's like a little weighted to people who are already up there would be a possible solution. I think maybe increasing the price, because ultimately the goal is we want people who pre-order the weapon that they want to have to get the weapon they want eventually, and that's sort of like the thing that is being punished right now in this system. Whereas the people who are actually pre-ordering it are not getting the item they want because there's a whole bunch of people who are jumping on. So, and it's like we have weapon exchange coupons, so like exchanging it to another class is not necessarily the issue. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, then I think you could do an extreme version of that, was like all weapons when listed to the marketplace go into a box. And so then instead of having weapons for every class, you just have weapons are in a box, and then you buy the box and it just opens up into the weapon that you want. And that would make like that. Then instead of having 20 different options there, you just literally have like one for every weapon.
Yeah, I think the real solution, honestly, is to just raise the max price. Because if you raise the max price of pin Black Stars and they actually get to what they're valued at, it gets rid of RMT, because eventually they'll start sitting if the max price is high enough, right?
You can't
RMT a pin Black Star.
Yeah, you can't RMT a pin Black Star if it's sitting in the marketplace.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel is closer to the true price or cost of a pin Black Star right now?
I think it's like 80 bill to craft one if you're like a genius, but the risk of losing tons of money because you have slightly bad RNG is huge. So for someone like Biohack or anyone else to make one for profit, it needs to be probably like 120 to like 140
Well,
bill.
see, another big problem is it's depending on server as well. Because if you're on NA, you can, if you have a fat stack, you can definitely make one for like 90 to 95 bill worth of like, 1 mil crons. But if you play like EU, SCA, stuff like that, where they have no access to costumes, they're using vendor crons. So they're paying 7 bill per click, right? So it's like there's a big difference when it comes to server to server. But if I had to put like an absolute value on what I think a pin black star would be worth, I'd say around 140 bill, honestly, because that's about what I spent to make my first one, and I got my first one almost exactly average. But then again, Hadoom kind of changes it because it was a point where masses of pure magic were valued at 30 mil each, but now they're kind of like free. But I would still say about 130 bill is the true value of a pin black star. Maybe even 140. But it just depends on what server. Because again, EU, they have to pay 7 bill per click from vendor crons, 2 mil each.
Right.
If I didn't have to use such a big fell stack for Tet Black Star, I could just put more of my orb things in there and use a lower fell stack. I mean, I could do it, like I have so many of these Master Magic. I have like over, I think like 1,200 of them now or something. Like I have some crazy number of them. Like,
And you can't burn them all, dude. I've been like enhancing so many Tet Black Stars, and you just can't. You can't burn through all of them. You get so many. It's crazy.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I have to get rid of my nodes now. I don't want to let go of my I've been trained to use these massive pure magic nodes, and I don't want to let them go.
I got rid of all 3 of them, dude.
Yeah, I think I've got like 200, 300 or something, maybe just sitting in like old wisdom tree in random places that I'm like, well, I don't even enhance enough to like make use of them.
Yeah. Man, I guess like I guess if the marketplace price increasing is probably the best solution, because there's a lot of other things that would help out too. Like there's plenty of other items in the marketplace that are just cap priced, like Blackstone, Black Spirit Claws and Forest Furies. Obviously the Black Stars, like we said. Deboreka's, like almost all gathering items right now are max price. This is like, I feel like,
I would definitely like to see them loosen the reins a little bit on like the max price for some items, especially with like the introduction of Hadoom. It's caused so much inflation, even on like hards, dude. There's like 20,000 pre-orders on hard shards right now. Like 1.6 mil being the max price is too low.
there needs to be
Even if they just raised it to 3.
Yeah.
Right?
There needs to be a region though that you can focus on just gathering sharps and hards, where it gives you less of our stuff but more sharps and hards. Like, I don't know, go to Belnos and you get 5 times the amount of hards and sharps, but you get no Caphras or something.
They do that in types though, don't they? Like rock is the best thing for sharps and hards, and then trees for Caphras, and meat and blood for gems, right?
To some extent, to some extent they do that. It's really the other issue is just not enough energy, right? So you gather for 2.5 hours and you have to go wait and recharge on some of those things. Especially like you run out of energy on was it Pilgrim's Haven in like less than an hour. Like it's like 750 to 850 energy in an hour. And so you use 1 hour and you're toast, you're out.
It's okay. We're all gonna become pirates soon, anyways, and sail the seas.
Speaking of this is a good transition. You're so big brained. They have Into the Waves. This was a new like event series that they started. It's a 4-week series. This Into the Waves is actually like, I guess it's like an ad for Heidel Ball. So they have Into the Waves, and then they have like a trailer which tells us absolutely nothing other than maybe Hadoom and Desert and Rain or something. I don't know. And then they have like several different pages here where it's like they actually have a teaser here that says, but there's a Savvy new edition, June 19th for global reveal, with some cool stuff. And they also have events where every week we get a cool event as well with this. And so the events for the first week is login rewards, and the second week, we don't know for sure, but there's 3 hour weeks, 1 per week. I'm really stoked for it. Actually, I'm really excited for. Like I wasn't expecting the Heidel Ball to have such a big event tied to it, and like with all the events and like all themed around the ocean and pirates and stuff like that, I'm pretty stoked. What like I don't know what's your favorite part? I guess about what you guys excited.
Dude, I'm curious. I'm interested in the a pirate class. My all-time favorite weapon, probably out of like most weapons, is I really like the scimitar. I'm a big simi fan. So I could imagine like some kind of pirate class with the scimitar main hand and like I don't know, like some kind of pistol offhand or some shit. That would be pretty awesome for me personally.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It seems a little bit out of left field for me. Like, were you guys anticipating pirate at all? I mean, it's obviously not confirmed yet, but
yeah, I was not anticipating a pirate. I was thinking something like female class was very obvious because I've been doing male, female, male, female, male, female in BDO for like a super long time. So it being a female class was like, I think, like I've been very surprised if it wasn't a female class, but you know, like that was the expectation. The pirate seems like oddball to me. Like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because of the ocean dungeon. That's kind of the only thing I can tie it to because it's the next dungeon.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, because the next dungeon is going to be underwater, and they still haven't given us that like what is it that little like underwater dungeon it wasn't dungeon, but it like obscures your vision. You know, I forget. They showed a teaser of it in Korea like months ago.
Oh,
It
I
could
didn't
also
know.
be tied to that too. I can see if I can try to find the video of it, but it's like you're in a place that looks like Secrea, and your vision is like limited, and you're like going and you find like different mobs and stuff, and you can like enter once a day. I
Oh
forget
yeah,
what
yeah,
they were
yeah.
calling it.
I wonder if they're turning that into like a dungeon now. Is this gonna be a different type of dungeon? So like every dungeon has a different kind of feeling or something.
Like a different theme, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I was assuming. Because yeah, Kerr, I remember that being like right. That's I think that's when they started talking about dungeons. They teased
Yeah,
like Sakurai, right? So yeah, I feel like they just evolved that concept into Ataraxia.
I'm
But I
really
guess I'll find
curious
out.
because they said I guess Heidel Ball last year in 2020 they said they're going to be doing the Land of Demons, and then we didn't hear anything about that. But now we have the Ataraxion dungeon, and I'm wondering if that was like what that turned into. I'm wondering if that's what that turned into, as the Ataraxion dungeon turned into the or it turned was what the Land of Demons was. You know, like they just evolved that idea.
yeah. They have a lot of irons in the fire, I guess you could say. They have like they're doing the Port Rat rework next year. They have the mountain region, and they said the land of the demons, and now they're doing Ataraxion stuff. They have a lot of stuff that they want to do. So I guess it's kind of like sifting through it and finding out what they will do, you know, or like
Yeah.
in some capacity.
It would be really nice to like have some confirmation on things that there are like we do still plan on doing this eventually, but is on the back burner for the foreseeable future. That way, we don't plan on hearing about Land of Demons for next like like we're not like where is it coming? When is it coming? We can like actually plan appropriately and be like, oh, this is expectations are set.
I think it's kind of cool. I like them paying more attention to ocean shit. Like even if they could take this as some time to fix some of the wonky swimming mechanics and stuff, I think it'd be pretty nice. Because I mean, they have this big, massive, expanding oceans. I remember in Arcade they had this like exploring kind of life skill where like you could literally craft like a submarine, and you could search for like hidden treasure that would spawn at the bottom of the ocean, and you have to like extract it, and it could like sell it for money and stuff like that. And like that became people's like method of making money, and it actually put use to all the like biomes and stuff they had under the ocean, and it was really sick. And BO has so much underwater stuff that I think that's literally low hanging fruit. Like that's free, you know. Like all
Now,
it would take is just them polishing it up. I mean, we got fucking Bugatti horses, dude. Give us submarines and some kind of like underwater exploration, you know? We literally got Bugattis. Like there's no excuse or anything. Like lore is out the window at this point. So
Yeah, I mean, based off of the I mean, yeah, it seems like, well, especially if Pirates coming out, it would be a great time to refocus on water content. But like, it's just, I don't know. For me, life skilling's good. It's fun, but to kind of take it to the next level, for me, it needs to have like the arcade factor. It needs to have some sort of um like objective or goal, or there needs to be some sort of conflict. I hesitate to say like conflict or PvP because right, most life skillers probably don't really want to PvP while they life skill, but it needs some sort, like, even if it's, I don't know, if you if you go to, I'm gathering right now, and there's a dude when I got here, and I just instantly stopped channels. I mean, there's no like, we're not fighting over resources. We're not like, it's not like I don't know. There needs to be something more to engage in, even if it's not like PvP in the sense of traditional PvP, but it's like you're competing against other players in the region for the resource for a specific time frame, something like that, to where, especially for like ocean content, right? Because the submarine thing, I remember I played like a month of Arc Age, but that was something I was like, that sounds super cool.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a resource that you kind of fight over. All right, like you find it first and you're like, oh cool, but then your boat's out there, so if someone stumbles across you, they're like, oh, there's treasure here, I'm gonna fight them for it. And that's what kind of makes it interesting. Just the chance that someone could come across you while you found this treasure, and you have to like hustle to get it all in. That makes it interesting and engaging and exciting.
Yeah, it's a risk versus reward type of strategy, and that whole, there's right now there's almost no risk, and the reward is great, and it just makes for ultimately boring gameplay if there's nothing else to diversify it.
Yeah, and they already have these like 4 different massive like Karoks and stuff, and then like there's easily ways they could like, you know, add even more diversity or like things to do with it instead of just bartering or like things. But I think they have some. I think they have some kind of some. I don't know. I don't know where they want to go with it. I saw on Global Labs where they increased the drop rate from sea monsters and added in some quests for killing crocodiles, like the ocean crocs and stuff. So it seems like they really want to do something related to boats with this Into the Waves update, but I'm not sure what it's going to be, you know?
So what they announced at the Caltheon Ball, they snuck it in there kind of quickly, but they mentioned Karak Yellow Gear, which they had on Global Lab. It was made in Odolita, but at the wharf. You can make yellow Karak gear there. Not in the Global Lab anymore, but that's where it was. And they also said at Caltheon Ball that they're planning on adding yellow Karak gear. So probably adding that in and probably refine that a little bit. I think there was 3 different types. I think there was yellow, green, and blue or something like that. And then they also said they're working on a new boat, and they had the same name of it, but I don't remember what it was, the translated name. They also said they're working on, I call it Ocean Node Wars. They tested that one time on Global Lab. They said they're still working.
There's like Blue Battlefield or something like that.
Yeah, and this is that, like, they said they have some type of Ocean PvP still in development at the Caltheon Ball. So maybe that is like the one that happened on Global Lab was you had 2 guilds, and whoever killed the other guild's guild boat won. So it'd be, you'd send out a fleet of your ships, and then they would send out a fleet of their ships, and whoever chased down the other guy's boat and killed it first was the winner. And then the other thing would be the tier 10, tier 10 horse. They have a tier 10 unicorn, which is can run on water.
Walking, right?
And
yeah.
that's why a lot of people think that the teaser is for the Heidel Ball that they released is like 17 seconds, because they show desert, and then they show rain, and then like they have like desert and like the earth with water. So a lot of people are thinking that maybe that's a hint towards the desert horse actually coming into the game, or the unicorn being upgraded into the water horse.
Interesting. That's a pretty decent take on it, yeah, because it does go from being the desert running horse until the being able to run on water.
They also have the black sun in there, which represents Hadum, probably, because that's what Lesra is trying to bring about, is the black sun, and like that's like the whole Hadum essence thing. So there's probably going to be some type of talk about what they're doing next for Hadum, whether that be Medea, Caltheon, or whatever. It'd be kind of neat. I personally hope that they just tie us all in and just call it the Season of Tides or something like that, and then they do pirate class, they do the ship stuff, release all the water stuff at the same time, call it a season, add this really fancy season event, call it Delirium. I don't know, something that ties it all together with a season event, and I feel like a lot of people would be happy about that. You know, I think people have been asking about seasons for a long time. And if they released that now, I think people would be extremely excited and would forgive them for releasing a fourth class in 9 months. Speaking of
Yeah,
the pie class,
I wouldn't mind, honestly.
speaking of the pie class, what do you guys think about? What was going to be like? Like, what kind of weapons do you want? You said a scimitar and a pistol.
Yep, scimitar and pistol offhand, scimitar main hand. I would really, really like that personally, but I know that's
Yeah.
very basic, right?
I mean, it's basic because it's like got a wide appeal. You know what I mean, like it's
Yeah.
a good combo. I don't want it to be like Musa Hornbow though, where it's got like one ability you use every now and then that's it. I
Yeah,
want
like
to
have
be
it
like,
integrated.
All right, I got.
yeah. I want it to be like an integral part of the kit. Which I mean, I think they've been doing a pretty decent job in general with the kits lately of new classes. But like at a certain point, how is it gonna be different than like I don't know. I've always not super liked their just pumping out classes forever because at a certain point you're not gonna get much variance, right? Like at a certain point you're gonna be like, oh, this feels like this other class. Okay, this feels like this other class. Like there's only so much they can do. I feel like.
Smash said, "What about like a giant anchor, sort of like Nautilus from League of Legends?"
All right, so we have
That'd be kinda
we have
interesting.
to talk about this. So on Korea, they have a file for a rusty Nuver, and it has like a new name. It doesn't have an icon yet, but it has LT on it, and so the LT is 15, which is the same weight as all shield Nuvers. All Nuvers have different weights, and shields are 15. So it has to be something heavy, like a shield. And the things that we can come up with is maybe a blunderbuss, very heavy, a shield, or an anchor, or a cannon. Because those are all things that some of those would be odd offhands, but that would kind of, I think the anchor would lean right into there. I personally hope that it's an anchor. I think an anchor offhand that acts like a shield or like a long range grappling hook that's really slow, or like
Do we really need more like full range class? I hope it's some kind of like hybrid where it's not like full range, but you obviously get a little bit like mid range. I don't want another
No,
full
I don't.
range
No, I don't think it's
class.
gonna be ranged. I think it's like, think about it this way: like you have a sword, and the way you get in close for the sword is using your offhand to get in close. And so I feel like
Okay.
I don't know, but I would like to see that. And they dropped a teaser on their Twitter, and it basically said she's the captain of the Creo. Our captain is no longer here, Queek. She was taken away by the White Witch or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And so that means Elezra, the White Witch, took her away, and we know she's been attached to the dungeons recently, which probably means the pirate lady is attached to the dungeons. And in the screenshot, they had a little photo of the Creo drawing of her. And
Podcast is good. We're just getting started, kind of.
the
Oh, sorry, my bad.
good bro. And in one of the photos, they have a sword. They actually have a sword in there. So I think your vision of a sword class, like a scimitar or pirate type scimitar class, or something like that, is very possible because they have that sword in the image.
And if you look at the little flag, you can see what looks to be like a class emblem. You know how every class has their emblem? If you look at the little flag, it looks like a new class.
The one behind
emblem. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it has like the fish in the middle.
Yeah. It looks like a new class icon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they have a fish and they have two swords underneath it. I mean, I could see that as a new class icon for sure.
Okay, I want this class. I want a grappling hook.
You want a grappling hook?
Like, yeah, I want like I don't know. In what was it? I think it was BFA. WoW, whatever the combat whatever swashbuckler or something like that, or outlaw, rogue in WoW, something like that came out. they
the new
added like
class.
grappling hook, and you could like basically I imagine it as mouse, like in BDO you would use mouse to move, but it was basically the same functionality on Rogue. Like you would click the button and then you'd click where you go, and then it would like grapple hook you towards that location or to it. I want like a
Interesting.
I want like a sweet grapple hook class, and then instead of it would be kind of like a reverse grab, where instead of you lock them up, it would just be a simple stun or something like that, or even a stiff in.
Oh, and you put
but
yourself
it would
in.
pull you to them. Yeah, exactly. I want that where it's like this, just like pretty agile and nimble, but like kind of hard to use because you're like swinging, ropes around and stuff, kind of thing. I think that would be fun. That would be pretty cool.
I mean, they could really make it cool, especially if they really want to index into this ocean PvP thing that they're kind of like doing, to be able to use that to go from ship to ship and stuff. Like they could do some really cool stuff with this if they actually put some thought into it.
I'm totally down for the grapple. It just reminds me of Last Oasis. I want to be able to grapple through the trees and just swing around like a madman and go at the speed of light and just zoom in and I get 2 minutes of velocity and just kill myself. And in the
right, exactly.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
And then they can say that they finally put climbing into the game.
Too soon, bro.
No, what you do is she can make a makeshift grapple hook and then trade it to her buddies, and it will do the same thing as her grapple hook, but it'll be very, very slow for climbing up hills and like castles and stuff like that.
Wait, could you imagine actually if they at the same time they implemented like imagine siege grapples, like you just hook it up onto the wall,
Scaling castle walls, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it could function just like a ladder. It would be high risk, high reward, right? Because like you basically are super vulnerable while you're climbing up. But like that seems like actually that seems like a decent siege edition. Assuming that they don't mess it up and like make you invulnerable while you're on it or something silly like that.
I'll just press my print screen button a bazillion times and no one will be able to touch me. It'll be fine. I am not happy with the teasers for the teaser. I'm kind of tired of that whole thing, but I am like actually surprised with the direction they've taken, like with going with the pirate, like going with the whole ocean theme and like quadruple double downing on ocean theme. Like I'm pretty happy with it, and like I enjoy it. And like I guess it makes sense a little bit in hindsight now that we've been told about it, because they just gave console like all the ocean update out of nowhere. There's like, oh, by the way, here's Sakurai, and here's the ocean, here's the boats, and here's all. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense now that they just like kind of dumped that all on them, and they're like, have fun. Oh, by the way, it's coming really soon.
In before, this is all just for Termine Water Park.
Oh my gosh!
Bruh.
Don't even.
They put Termine Water Park out in like Aquila's Eye or something like that.
Oh no. They make a new island for it. You got to sail to in the middle of.
I do think they might add a new island, because the island that they show in a screenshot, I don't think it exists in BDO right now. So I could see them reworking an island or maybe doing a new one. Because the one that we show on the website, it doesn't exist, I don't believe. And also the screenshot that's currently that they have that also doesn't exist in BDO, and so that makes me think that that'll be a place we can go for the new class.
I'm surprised that they don't make different classes, especially now that they're coming out with classes that have actual names like Nova and Sage and shit like that. I'm really surprised that different classes don't have different like starting locations for the main quest, right? Like even if just the beginning part was kind of like curated in a special way.
Yeah, especially since so much of the game is like pretty straightforward. Like I don't think it'd be too hard to start somebody off like, hey, you start this class, you get enough gear to start in Caltheon at level 25 or something, like make it a little different.
Elvia pirates. What about Elvia, like Hadum pirates?
Oh, you
5-man party grinding that, PvP.
Yo,
no, I don't want party grinding. I want it to be exactly like it is, just Hadum. Yeah,
because that'd be pretty interesting.
I mean, if you party, I don't know. For me, party grinding, I'm more of a solo player anyway. So like, party grinding is just I'm never gonna go. Like,
they already have packs
I'm never
too.
gonna want to. have the motivation to get 4 other people and then like trick it out
True.
there, and it's just too much effort. I just want to be able to hop on, pop my buffs, grind for an hour, and like but I don't know, the beauty of Pirates was just the risk reward was like very well tuned because it meant something if you died, you lost your coins. Potentially you had to swim from the other island. It was like a big waste of time, depending on where we were. So like the risk reward there was very well done, and so and yeah, I don't know. I think that was the biggest thing of why Pirates was big in the day.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, especially because like after you kill someone, they couldn't just spawn node, or they could, but it would send them to like an island over, right? It would send them to another island, so then they'd literally have to like swim back to you.
Oh, it was so good because you could memorize exactly where the boundary line was, and then just bait them over the line and be like, oh, gah! And then they're off to the next island. You're like, all right, he'll be back in 15 minutes. All right, that's good.
Yeah, that was fun. But I mean, the biggest thing was like coins were like a decent part of the overall income from there. So like it was just punishing enough to be like kind of like make you not want to die, but not so punishing that you're like, I just wasted a whole hour of grinding. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which so it was a really good, it was just like, I don't know, maybe like 10-15% of your income for that hour. And it's not like, it's different than losing experience or something that is more permanent to your character. It's just like you lose a portion of what you worked on in that short time frame versus you lose a portion of what you worked on over the last 5 years of playing this game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's very different.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I like. I feel like if that was the case, where they're going to do Hadoom Pirates, right, the regular island and everything, that. Holy smokes, that would make this my favorite update in BDO of all time. Like that right there with like new class and maybe a season or whatever they're doing with the ocean stuff, right? That combination there would just be the coolest update. It really would be.
And you get your Mysteries of Summer because it's about that time.
I can only get so hard, sir.
It's the potion shop update, bro. Fuck. But yeah, that's the crazy thing though, that like literally all of this could just be Termian Water Park, like Vibes said. Fuck, dude, I hope not.
It could be the best Heidel Ball of all time, or it could be the worst. I mean, it really could be either one. I'm excited.
Like it's every Heidel Ball.
Yeah, but I don't know how they do it. Every time I'm excited, all right? I can't help it. That's what happens. I get excited.
It's like you're going to be let down, but your brain still somehow psychs you up. Like, they're going to give you this extravagant lip service where they're like, yeah, we're going to show off this roadmap and this is what's going to happen. And you can expect this by this. And then they may do one or two things that they show. But it's like you always get excited for it. It's kind of weird.
I mean, I think they're legitimately afraid of Lost Ark. We can get in Lost Ark maybe later, but I think they're genuinely afraid of that, though. Like that's a big beast on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, also taking it. I mean, they're afraid. They've shown that they're afraid of like literally every MMO, right?
Mhm.
Anytime a WoW update is on the horizon, anytime ArcAge came out, just like literally anything in the space, they're like, oh my god, we have to match it. We have to. And I mean, it's this weird marketing thing, like standard that everybody has to. You have to like compete directly, rather than like let them go and then play for the recoup or something. I don't know. But either way, but I'm taking it back a little bit to Heidel Ball and getting hyped, and what you said earlier, Push Chop. Do you think that they have too many of things on the fire?
I don't think they have too many things in the fire. I think they're telling us too many things that they think are in the fire. I think that's the big distinction, because like I think they are not working on all those things that they're telling us they're working on. A good example is they told their investors, all right, we're going to be getting Crimson Desert out in 2022 really early on, and in 2023 is Dookie V, and 2024 is Plan 8, and then we're going to do Shadow Arena at some point. We'll figure it out. And like obviously those things are not going to happen. Like Crimson Desert might come out, and the other ones are definitely not coming out when they said. And it's just like they're obviously not working at all on Dookie V or Plan 8. And I think the same thing's true when you go to Black Desert. Like if you actually said, what are you actually working on? Like they're probably not working on like half the stuff. They have like one dude who's like, yeah, well, that'd be a cool idea. Like let's see about that. And like that's probably all it is for those other ideas. And I feel like that's what the problem is like if you looked at the winter update last year, they had a screenshot of 2 grind spots. But if you actually look at it, there's like, it's literally photos of the models, and they rotated them, and then took another photo, and then rotated it and took another photo. And if you look at the actual NPCs, they took one and they scrunched it down, and they took another one and they stretched them out. And it's just like some guy, they had some models of it, and like some guy put it together on like Photoshop, and the other one was even worse. Like everything was drawn except from like the first 3 models in the very front. That was the only thing they actually had. And so I feel like that's a good example. Like they had obviously like not even started. It's like they told one guy like make 5 models, two snowmen and like 3 creature things, and like that's as far as they had gotten. And I feel like that's the real problem is like when they're telling us stuff, it's sort of like it's like pre-alpha level. Like they just don't have anything hardly, and I feel like they should just stop telling us when it's that early on.
Yeah. At the same time, it's not a bad strat because if they tease a very low, they don't want to invest too much into something that they have no idea the reception will be, right? So they invest a little bit, they build out the very base as little as possible to kind of get the feeling and the sentiment that they're going for. And then they tease it to us to get our gut reactions. If in general, they read Reddit and everything and they're like, and like the region seems kind of lame, whatever. They know that it's like maybe they're still going to do it, but they're going to put it way lower in priority until they can figure out better ways to improve it. And so that's going to be, pushed further back. And so I think that's probably what they're doing is they're, building super prototype versions and alpha versions so that they can gauge initial interest to decide where to put it in the development pipeline.
And I think that's
like I understand how they or why they do it. I do kind of agree with Poshno. They overshare. Like they said, like Heidel Ball back in December. They were like, yeah, coming in 2022 December or winter of December 22, we'll be releasing a new region that's a rework of Port Rat, like an Asian region. Like, don't tell us that if it's 2 years away.
Yeah, like I guess the thing is, if they want feedback on like what are fun ideas for the community, like what RuneScape does is they literally just have like 5 like things they'll tell you, and like they'll say, hey, vote on which one of these ideas you think is cool, like, and then that gives them like immediate feedback on what the player base actually think is cool. Like, hey, you want a dungeon? Like, yeah. You want a new grind spot? Like people like you can get that like right away. And I feel like that would be a better format for accomplish anything, because I think the feedback is really important for them, because it's obvious that they don't know exactly what we want, and so they have to find out. They have to have some way of figuring it out. And right now they're using the Heidel Ball for that, unfortunately. And the Heidel Ball, I feel like, should be things that they already know we're excited about. At least for the most part. I feel like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I guess that's why I asked, do they have too many irons in the fire? Because like you said, they kind of throw a bunch of stuff at us. They talk of things that they have in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree, they should really just be focusing on focusing on what's coming up immediately and getting us very excited for that, and like really working and finishing that, rather than being like, okay, yep, we did this, move on to the next one, because we got like 16,000 things to work on. So
I think I can answer that question better than I did then. Like we can tell a little bit of insight just from like how they release content and what kind of teams they have inside. Like obviously you don't have one team inside your company working on one thing. You have a bunch of teams working on different things at the same time that eventually come together. And like we know there's a costume team, the costume task force, which has been a huge meme, but has brought a lot of content to us, like the Nouveau outfit, the Lazeka Orca outfit, the Bugatti meme outfit. Holy smokes, the memes are unreal. And then as well as like every week we get a cool costume, or sometimes we get a cool costume. We get a costume every week. We'll say it that way. Sometimes good, sometimes not. And like I thought that's been like we can know for sure there's a team on that, right? Is my point. And if you look at the other parts of the game, like they obviously have a team that's been working on reworking old grind spots, right? They did Gyfin, and then they did Abandoned Monastery, and then they did Pax Island, and then they went through and like added mechanics to like every grind spot. They just went through like systematically, and like every grind spot got like a new mechanic, and that was really cool. And then they went that same team, started working on Hadoom probably because a little after that they're like, we're working on Hadoom, and like, whoa. And then no more grind spot updates happened, and no more. So I mean, we obviously have some team that's just working on reworking stuff now. And there's some team that's working on like making new content, and there's one team working classes. So we can at least know there's like 4 teams, right? Costume team, rework team, new areas team, and class team. Those are like at least the 4 teams we can say for sure are inside the company, working on different stuff in Black Desert. So I'm just kind of curious, like, I guess to answer the question, like, if their irons are in the fire, they definitely have at least those 4 irons in the fire. And the question is, what other irons from other teams do they have in the fire that we aren't aware of? Because they aren't necessarily, maybe they are like jacks of all trades or something, right? And I think that's what I kind of want to know is, what are they actually have real people working on and not just like ideas they're throwing in? And like, how do we as players decipher that at the Heidel Ball and Calcium Ball? I don't think there's an answer. I don't know. I bet that's why I want to know.
I mean, I think it's just we got to take them at their word for, when they say Port Rat's coming in 2 years, obviously, or at least I sure hope that nobody's working on it then right now. They're focusing on stuff that we need, like PvP content, life skill updates, the like more priority stuff. But to your point, you just have to take them at their word of like when they say stuff will come out.
Trading.
Yeah. And that's the main issue, right? When they tell you, oh, yeah, this will be out in 2 years or this will be out in fall. So sort of like with, everyone says the climbing and pottery life skill, right? Like case in point, like there was no reason for them to actually say anything about that until it was until they were like 100% sure, like this is going to come out. That's how they kind of find problems.
It'd be nice if they changed their mind on something, like they said, just to tell us that they're like, hey, that's not, we put it on the back burner for the foreseeable future, just so we don't have to anticipate it. But that made me think of what you said there was about trading. They announced trading a Calcium Ball rework for the second half of 2021. Do you think we're going to hear more about that? What's it going to be? What do you think it's going to be?
I hope so. I have like 20, over 10 billion crates that are just sitting there.
If I know, dude. I don't even at this point.
No, it's there. I mean, it's going to be some sort of. I think they're just going to treat it like bartering. They're probably going to copy bartering, be like, "Hey, that was pretty successful," and just translate it to land for the most part. And then it's just going to be completely separate, right? So my 10 bill plus in crates that are sitting there are going to remain exactly as is, just like the life skill Imperial seals. They, instead of like, massively giving people like boosts because they held on to crates or things for a long time, they're gonna just make it a new system, which is fair, especially considering we have no idea how many Guru 50 traders there are in the game now.
I had 20,000 seals. I'm very upset about it.
They finally fixed that, by the way. They fixed that, right? Where they they rolled some people back and they gave out punishments to people that overly abused it. Or at least they did. It was on the Korea server that they did it. I don't know if they did it to NA yet, but I remember seeing they did it on Korea server.
Well, that's cool. I mean, that's good then. At least
that's good.
We know that it'll come at some point. So it will. It's not completely off the table for trading to now be reworked if they can actually do something about that. So that's good.
At Calcium Ball, they said they wanted to make it sort of like the new trading rework, sort of like, I think they said Imperial Alchemy, but make it competitive where they can only trade in so many. So it's like you'll get a mission to like Tarif, and you're like, oh, we gotta do it. We gotta beat that guy over there, and like we gotta go over there fast. And so you're both like trying to get there and like get everything transferred over real fast, and like trying to beat the crowd to the area that has the good trade, and make it where it's kind of almost like a miniature race between areas.
Well, so that is in the game already. It's been in the game since launch, right? Or like, which is basically the how do you even look? How do you even find it?
Imperial
I can't
trading?
remember. Yeah, isn't it just Imperial trading where it's like the 200% bonus value or whatever? And trading has always been limited supply, right?
Mhm.
That's even before Imperial, cooking and alchemy. So I mean, it makes sense, but I honestly hope that they do more than that because I don't know about you guys, but like loading up trade goods on a wagon and watching you autopath is pretty damn boring. I mean, it's different when you're on a boat because at least like I don't know, you're in the ocean and like
I think
I
that's
don't
my
know,
favorite
sea
content in the
monsters
game.
that
I don't know what you're
kill and
talking about.
stuff.
I make 10 mil an hour going from Alta Nova to Heidel. It's great.
Yeah, it's sort of like we were talking about earlier. I wish they would find a way to add some kind of like danger to it, right? Instead
All
of
right.
in the current system, they just spawn random like bandits that don't do any damage, and if your horse is fast enough, you kind of just run past them anyway. I wish they'd add some kind of risk to it.
So you guys want to hear some I guess peeks behind the curtain?
Yeah.
So at some point at Cacao, because I had a lot of free time there, I took it upon myself to write out like this giant, like 18 or I don't know how long page document of things in the game. This is like 2 years ago, mind you, or long time ago. So it's like at the current time in the game, things and systems like trading, karma, et cetera, that just needed to be reworked and revamped, and so possible solutions and ideas for that. It did go through to PA. Technically, I don't know what happened after that, but fun fact: the outlaw system that we're gonna be getting is very similar to the one that I suggested 2 years ago.
Bro,
Interesting.
they have some huge cabinet of ideas from players, and it's went over there and they're like war, open world PvP, and bounty system. And it pulled out that file, and they're like, oh, they got 100 ideas in here, and wow, this one's 18 pages or whatever.
No, but for so okay, my idea for trading was let me see if I can remember what it was exactly. Basically, I to add the kind of risk reward, but not make it mandatory for players. I suggested bundling crates into like you bundle 500 crates, and then that bundle would have like 50 or 100% increased value. However, you could be stolen essentially is like the bottom line. So that way, if you want to take the safe route, you just do trading as is. If you want to do the risky route, then you get a party together, you get some homies, you like escort it across to like I don't know to wherever you're going to Valencia, and then you turn it in, and then you wouldn't lose money from it, or like you wouldn't pay out them, but anybody in your party would get like a portion too. So it's like worthwhile for them too. So you kind of like pay for mercenaries to help you, and then the people who steal it would have to steal it and trade it into like McQuinn and get like a portion of the total value, and then you could buy insurance for it to protect it in case it does get stolen, so that you don't lose 100%. You get like 50% insurance or something like that. But it was basically just something like that, something as simple as that, where to make it stealable, to add that extra bit of spice.
Yeah, I think the really key thing there is just a little bit of risk, like that Pirate Island risk. That's what it takes, just a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. Because that's the thing. It's like, I mean, you could get then red players who just like all they do is look for traders, right?
Mhm.
But I still don't like. They're still that was like the goal of that was just like minimal effort things they could do back then. So obviously it would probably want to be a little bit more fleshed out but than that. But that was like assuming that they were that if you just kept this current system, you just add this one little thing to it. That was kind of the idea.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean
minimum
for
amount of
like total
effort
revamps,
for
I think there's a lot more they could do.
like low hanging fruit type stuff.
Yeah.
That makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, I like that. Honestly,
Yeah, there's like a lot of easy things like that. I mean, maybe that's what they're doing. They're just gonna be like, they found your document, and now they're just gonna slowly, one by one, just go through them. They're like, oh wow, this is Ooh, this is how long have you had this?
They did address a few of them. They added the horse race in. They're doing the outlaw system.
I think the horse races are a huge
harpooning
step in the right
still exists in the
direction.
game. Sorry, go ahead.
I think the horse racing is a huge step in the right direction. They still need to figure out how to turn it into Mario Kart, aka like this, like the gamify it to make it fun. Because right now it still feels like I'm just like in a horse race simulator, and you know that might be fun for some people, but for the rest of us out here, But I think that right now that's a huge step in the right direction. With like custom race horses.
Like
and everything.
it's something, right? It's something. It's an improvement. It may not be perfect, but it's something.
Absolutely.
And it's content for horse enthusiasts, because I mean, there's tons of horse enthusiasts in BDO, so it is content. It is something for them to do.
Speaking of that, they actually added a really cool item to Global Lab for the horse racing this week. They added 3 trophies: bronze, gold, and silver. Or I said wrong, bronze, silver, and gold. And when you get them, they actually add mastery. I think it's like life, training EXP and mount EXP. And they last for 10 hours as a furniture buff, which I think is incredible because you can actually use it when it's AFK then, which is like what the majority of people want to do.
Yeah, I actually just randomly, I was like, I don't really do training at all, but you get random extra mana XP scrolls from things. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, 20% mana experience for 1 hour. What is that going to do? Like, why is this in the game? Granted, these are probably from like 2017 or something, but still, even still, like AFK horse training was still a thing back then. It's like, why are you giving 1 hour buffs for horse training? You expect someone to like hardcore and sit there and just like run back and forth or like in a circle for an hour? Like, is that
actively drifting?
Is this
All right.
gameplay? Like,
so for that, it's for that training dummy, right? You can use charge into the train dummy, and then that infinite trains it, and then what? There's like, what's the other cheese for training horse skills? I forget. There's some other cheese. It's sort of like if you hold, I think it's S. And then, or no, you hold F after you do a drift, and you can do SWFWFW for like crazy drift canceling training or something like that. Drains your horse in like 5 minutes. But yeah, I thought that was actually pretty like I think the new horse racing, going back to that, and like the global lab update for those trophies are like pretty phenomenal. We kind of gone all over the place. Is there anything you want to go back to, like I don't know, the Heidel Ball or the class or something?
Oh wait, before I forget, in case there's any new people that don't know who Good Vibes Guy is, he used to host this tournament called the BSL, the Black Spirit League, which was like a weekly circuit PvP thing that was really popular in the community. And he worked for Cacao as a community manager for the game back when. You were CM, right? Or was it GM? You were CM, right?
Yeah, I was a CM.
Yeah, he was a CM for the game back when Cacao used to manage it. It's kind of given the spiel for people that are, might be new or don't know who Vibes is.
Hello.
I guess that's a good like transition into what about, so at this point it seems almost guaranteed that we're going to get the Jay's accessory hammers, because again this week they went back and they added a date, December 22nd, which is exactly 6 months from the patch after the Heidel Ball. So sort of like they did with the original Jay's hammers, where they gave it to us but we couldn't use it till the following Wednesday on patch. So they went and did that, and they also added in the new distortion equivalent that comes from the dungeons that Korea got. So at this point it seems almost guaranteed that we get the Jay's accessory hammers from Heidel Ball.
I need to buy a TED accessory. What do I need to buy?
I mean, everybody's just gonna like, why would you tap anything other than a Tet Disto, right?
Yeah, you can tap anything except for Deboreka, and Disto is definitely going to be the biggest value for sure.
Yeah. Is it? Sorry if you just said this and I missed it, but can it downgrade, or is it guaranteed no downgrade?
Yeah, there's no risk. No risk.
Yeah,
it's just like the hammers.
I mean, I've thought about this too, because I mean, yeah, I've seen the rumors and stuff, but like Tet Disto versus Tet Tungrad, like AP wise, you should go for the Pen Tungrad, right? If you're at Tets, it's just 3 AP versus 3 AP minus 1 AP or 1 DP. But like value wise, I mean, I guess Tongue Guard isn't that big value difference between the two, but I mean, yeah, it's just like
The Lunar
You
Revive
should
necklace is more expensive.
is it?
Yep.
I mean, well, I mean,
Pin lunar
I'm talking
necklace?
about like
Yeah, it's pretty
normal, most people accessories. I guess I don't have a Tet lunar, but you know,
Yeah, I'd say most people have a Tet disto sitting around that they use, right?
Yeah.
Or not most, but a lot of people have them. The Pin lunar is kind of like a more leash, or a Tet lunar is more like a niche item, I guess.
So this is what I'm thinking. If everybody's tapping Tet Distortion, then why does no longer be the most expensive item in the game? Pin Distortion, right? Like that's my theory on it. That this is going to crash the everling crap out of it.
I'm trying to buy one, dude. That is my goal for this next Heidel Ball with this Heidel Ball stuff. I want to buy one for like. I'm praying that they go down to like 80 bill or something like that.
I actually might tap my Turos belt now that I think about it. Having a Penturo would be pretty sick.
Penturos would
Yeah.
be pretty nice.
I'm think I want to tap. So I need. This is my dilemma I have right now. If I do PVE builds, then it's like Deboreka, AP. That's like the entire thing. And if I do PvP build, then I need a Lunar Revive necklace, a Toro belt, and I need distortions. So I'm kind of torn right now between which build I really want to go for. Because they both require different pin accessories. So I don't know. I think I actually type in like a tongue grad belt instead. Because it's like they don't exist. So
Yeah. I guess it really just depends on like if you're playing for the short term or the long term, especially because the hammers don't expire until December 22nd. So
mhm.
there's nothing that tells you that you have to click them something right away. You literally have 6 months to decide what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't even have a stack. I gotta make stacks. That's the first thing I gotta do.
I think what
Dude, are you ready for all the people to be like, yo, what do? I just hit a pin disto on an 80 stack. Do I sell it or keep it?
Yeah,
I mean, everybody gets
strength
the
is
answer to everybody is sell it.
Yeah.
Well, see, because like the thing is, like so many people hit pin black stars on like an 80 stack, and a pin black star on 80 stack is like a 2%, right? So imagine
Mhm.
like pin accessories, they're like triple the success rate of like a pin weapon.
Yeah. I mean, just you guys all remember the flood of Pin Black Star success enhancements that happened the last time. So like,
Yep.
yeah, I guess that's a what is this like? If you have the right stack for it, it's like 2-3 times as many, right? 2-3 times the percent chance. So like,
Mhm.
that's gonna be a crap ton. That's gonna mess with the market forever. I feel like
I
there's
have
gonna be
enough.
stuff sitting.
I'm going to have enough money by the time this happens that I can buy 2 pin distortions if they get down to 80 bill. Like that's what I'm considering doing. I can sell my 2 pin narcs and then buy 2 pin distortions. Because
The real play is to have silver on hand, even if they just flood us with Caphras and like memory fragments and stuff. Just being able to snatch that stuff up before it goes back up in price is really smart.
Yeah. Oh, I'm too poor for any of that stuff. Feels bad, man.
You got to go to Hadoom, dude. Get them orcs.
I've
Or
been.
them,
Actually,
or the
yeah.
Bloody
that reminds me.
Monastery.
Yeah, I finally got my 100 at Monastery. Now I guess I gotta go to Orcs. I tried grinding there once. I don't get the rotations. I'll figure it out.
I think I have to pull the trigger and trade over to a full like evasion build. Like I just have to do it. I don't want to do it. I've been sticking with this DR build, but bro, a DR build gets hard countered by a Guardian. I did not know this, but like a Guardian with the same gear that I have roughly, they literally just one-shot me. Like they one-shot me, or maybe like they one-shot me down to 80%, and then they just like barely tap me. Like I almost got you that
Dude,
time.
with DR, DR's so weird, dude. Because like Junior has full C20 armors, and I can still kill him in like 3 or 4 abilities, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were evasion, you at least have the RNG to not die. But then it's like different evasion or different levels of DR and tankiness works different against different classes, right? Because each class has those like hidden modifiers. So like
Mhm.
some classes get melted by other classes, and then you have more like protection against other classes. It's such a weird system.
The overall problem that I have is like if I do distortions, then I destroy my build, and that's what I really want to go. I want to eventually go distortions, and like if I do that, then I lose 15 DR, or I mean 10 DR, and then that just hurts your build. Like that's what I really need. Is I just need an item that's not that. I need the evasion minus evasion version. And I think I'd be happy to keep
See,
my build.
when I saw the new disto, I was thinking like, okay, that's cool. It's gonna be like an evasion reducing disto, but they didn't. They made it at like an identical copy. I feel like they should have made it a disto that reduces evasion instead of DR.
It would have been very nice. Yeah, I feel like they could have done a lot with that. Like they could have done a high accuracy minus evasion or a distortion minus evasion version, right? The last stuff they could have done there. But that's
it's
what,
basically like Leighton to Ogre, right?
yeah. But that's the reason why I'm thinking about changing over to evasion, just because with an evasion build, then I don't have to worry about losing the minus DR. I mean, maybe that's why maybe I shouldn't worry about that, and just like I don't know.
I mean, I think it would have been cool because like build diversity is one thing that they can do and focus on, but the other thing they could do is progression diversity. So like with this, because it's it's only from the dungeon, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what they could have done is make it so that this has a more linear enhancement progression and it's more common and not sellable. Right? They could have gone like the Kaposha route or something like that, where it's something that you can work on personally, and it will take you. It's for the people who hate enhancing and all that stuff and just love the dungeons, but they don't have to worry about. It basically kind of gets rid of the issue that we're all expecting, which is the dungeon going to be worth it? But if the answer is it's a completely like separate to the normal economy, but it still takes a large amount of effort, to get it to TED or whatever. That could be an interesting thing, especially if you can upgrade it like 1 AP more than a TED disto.
To add longevity.
Yeah. I think that could be something that really interesting they could have done. I doubt they'll do it. They'll probably just copy and paste it and start the game. But, there's options they could have done.
I could see that. What do you think? Do you guys want to go back to the class? What do you think the Awakening is going to be for it?
Dude, I don't know. They could do so much with a pirate class.
What if they go Ranger route, where the pre-awaken is a scimitar, and then the Awakening is that they go the opposite Ranger? they start melee and then go ranged.
I mean, people would love a class that plays like a gunslinger. It can be like Sage, like spatial magic shit, like, but people want a gunslinger feeling class. Like they really want that. So if they can somehow make that happen with the Awakening, I think that would be pretty pog.
True. Yeah, I mean gunslingers are always going to be popular. So I wouldn't be surprised. I heard you on your streams say a lot, Potion, that you're like, I don't get how are they going to do a gunslinger or like it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in this game, but I feel
Bugatti.
yeah, I feel like there's definitely a way they could make it so that it feels. I have a feeling it'll feel kind of like Archer plus like Lawn or Hashashin or something like that. Like it'll be kind of like a weird mix, is what I'm guessing or anticipating, I guess.
Like I had to come to reality check on like that might be possible they could do a gunslinger class when they announced the pirate. And so I was like, how can they do this? I don't know. And I was like, oh, what if they do like Sage portals and then it's like she controls water and then the water acts like a gun, And what if she's like what if she gets on a boat and she can control wind and she's like the master of wind on the boat and shaping it all, like maybe she could do that as a gunslinger. It's like I don't know. Like I was like coming up with all sorts.
I mean, there's some cool
ideas.
stuff that they can do with her because like when you're on the water, you have these annoying ass currents and like wind changes that are like preset, and her being able to ignore them would be pretty sick, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for like somebody like Nabron.
Is what you're saying.
You know,
Bicycle class that can change the wind and swim faster.
you know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll just wait and see. It's like it's just pure conjecture at this point. So
Yeah, for
we'll
sure.
see. They to be fair, like the feel of Sage, the feel of their latest classes has been pretty good. So I think we can give them the benefit of the doubt, like that it'll be a pretty fun class. But
They've improved a
I don't know
And
lot.
the whole
strong.
yes and strong. The whole thing with water though, I'm hesitant because it's like then it's just gonna feel potentially like Mystic if they do it too melee heavy. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be like Mystic
True.
chucking water around. And then they can't really do a ranged thing because then it's just a wizard. So I don't know.
True.
I don't think it'll be water focused. I think it'll be kind of like Berserker theme in terms of like
Yeah, or it's like a combination of the two, right?
yeah.
I just want the scimitar main hand with the pistol offhand, dude. Whatever you make the awakening, do whatever you want, because I'll just play Succession at that point. But just give us the pistol. The pistol and a scimitar would be freaking amazing.
The what's it called? What would you think of Blunderbuss? You think that would still fit the theme?
That's like the guns where you just put like anything in the barrel and shoot it out, right?
Yeah.
It's like an old shotgun, basically, right?
Mhm.
Are they
Yeah.
one-handed or two-handed? I can't remember.
They're apparently extremely heavy, which is why they fit the ideal weight of the new offhand.
Okay. I mean, I could see it work. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like to me. A pirate class is like more a rogue like archetype, right? They're like nimble, swift, crafty kind of things. So
Yeah.
having kind of like a big old like cannon style or like shotgun doesn't really fit to me. But if it's like more like a sawed off like hand pistol type thing, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, like you like Misfortune, right? Like those are I guess blunderbusses, right? Or no, I don't even know.
Maybe, yeah, maybe they are. I don't know. I mean, they look huge in game, but I don't know if that's how they actually are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, this is something that you can comment on, Good Vibes Guy. Now, I'm not a tournament professional or anything like that, but so in the Wizard Tournament Finals here, in the Gear Capped, is this how it normally goes? They had one guy enter, and he just default won because he was the only guy who entered. Is this how normally tournaments go?
See, that's always like this weird paradox where like people that are watching are always like, "Oh my god, gear! Why isn't it gear capped?" Or "I want gear capped arenas." Like people just don't realize that when there is gear cap content in the game, people don't really do it. Right? We had gear capped RBF. Hardly anybody entered the gear cap trial like arenas. I don't know, dude. I'm not too crazy about gear capped content personally.
Yeah.
And I don't
mean,
think people actually want it, but they think they want it.
It's like the newer players, right? That are wanting to get in on the action, which is fair, right? It's newer players with less gear who love the combat but can't really, they go in GVG, they just get one shot, or they RBF and they just don't have fun. So like it's those people, which yeah, for sure, you should make content for them. To your initial question, Potion, the one thing I've learned as like a tournament organizer is that the like most difficult thing and highest skill ceiling ability is showing up. So yes, that is pretty normal for there to be a no show and then just you win. Like that's the unfortunate reality of like online tournaments. Is there's no accountability, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we put so much effort into the Black Spirit League, made it a weekly thing, made it this big like thing. We mistakenly tried to structure it like the LCS. And like, I mean, we had no shows. It was just a nightmare. It was miserable. So yeah, that's pretty normal. I do give massive kudos to Perlibus for putting it on. I think it's great. content. I think it's amazing that they're putting so much effort into it. I think it's a little overdue, and I am definitely salty about it now. But it's fine. I think they're doing a great job. I do very much appreciate as well that they're giving content creators opportunities to engage and like be a part of it, right? Like flying Armin and Vert out, just allow like giving them essentially hosting rights to them is great. It's just how they're handling it is pretty good so far.
Do you think there's still like a place for someone to like do like a circuit style tournament thing, like a weekly tournament thing, like Black Spirit League, like you guys did in the past? Like taking all the stuff you learned and like taking a crack at it again, but with like more people, so it's not just you two guys like shouldering all the burden and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we even like we had Heaton, just Elena, and like some other people. Like we had small staff to help us and facilitate, right? So we did recruit people and we did have help, but even then it was just a lot. And people don't realize how much effort, and that was the most disheartening thing is like we put in so much freaking effort, and then people just come in and complain about the smallest things or like one rule or something like that. I'm like, if you got a problem, by all means, please do it yourself. And I think Black Sea. Do you guys remember Black Sea? I think that's his name.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like a wizard back in the day in either Snake or Black Rose or something like that. But he he and his group kind of had issues with some of the how we ran it and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, cool. Go like try and run it. And they did. They ran the tournament. And I remember on the broadcast, he was like, Jesus, this is so hard. I don't know how you guys do this. And I'm like, yes, exactly. It's literally, I mean, I wasn't working at the time, so like it literally became my full-time job, like functionally, and I didn't get paid for it. We highly overestimated the amount of financial support that the community would give. I mean, definitely people appreciated it for the most part, and like we got a lot of positive messages, and like people appreciated the content. But like we had a crowdsourced prize pool, which we put 500 of our own money. We split it for the initial pot, and we're like, but if you like donate and whatever to the stream, you can increase it and like by half. So if you donate $10, $5 goes to the pot, $5 goes to us. And I don't know, we got like $100 over the course of like 8 weeks, something like that. Like it's not sustainable whatsoever.
Yeah, BDO is definitely not really a monetizable, like not really very monetizable for a category, especially because like if you did like some League of Legends tournament and stuff, like people are much more willing to like sub and stuff for League of Legends and things like that, like Fortnite and shit. But like MMOs in general, they're really hard to like monetize like or do like community stuff because like it's hard to like fund rewards and things, right? Like prize pools and things.
It's really difficult. You have to understand that everybody has spent all of their money on BDO, so there isn't much left to give to us streamers.
Yeah, that was our thinking too. We're like, I mean, BDO's got whales in it, right? Why can't they just well, like there's plenty of opportunity in BDO, right? Like people got tons of money they're spending. It's like, no, they're spending it on crons and their own gain.
I don't blame them. That's what I did.
I thought about also doing like something similar to that, but I was like, dude, like, because I started like looking into it and researching. I'm like, dude, there's actually a lot of shit that goes into that. Like, I don't even know where you would even begin. Like,
I mean, people run, like guild tournaments and like small stuff all the time, and like like just essentially, as long as the problem was like we put a lot of effort into making it professional, making it like a legitimate tournament scene that like people wanted to be in, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it got to the point where a particular streamer who will not be named basically wanted us to rig the tournament to an extent and then offered basically like sponsorship opportunities through their connections and stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, I don't care what you offer. Like, no. Yeah. Like what? No, the whole thing is built on like competitive integrity. Like that was the most important thing to the whole tournament. And we tried our best, right? We put rules that we felt were fair. Obviously, there's no perfect rules in an online tournament with DCs and all that stuff. and especially as in a game as buggy as BDO. We did our best and we stuck to it, and we got a lot of hate for it. And so it's just the outspoken few, right? It's you hear that way more than the satisfied thousands.
Oh, for sure. Because like I would literally watch it every Saturday. Even sometimes I'd watch the EU one. And like, I mean, obviously, if I have no problems with it, I'm not gonna type. I'm just gonna like pull it up on the TV and chill on Saturdays. It was like part of my, weekend ritual. But then you'd have the people that it's just like Reddit, right? Like you don't really post good shit on Reddit most of the time. You just go there to bitch and complain. But you could like when you see that all the time, day in, day out, when they don't even see like the effort you're putting in on the back end, like that could be fucking tilting, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think now, like, because Prolibus seems, pretty willing to, like, get involved with the community and do stuff. And, like, you could probably get some decent support from them. So, like, theoretically, if Dark P and I wanted to, boot the old stream back up, like, we could probably get some decent developer support and actually, like, work with them to build something out.
Yeah, they have a system now where like as BDO partners, you can apply like twice a month to have them supply like costume codes and things like that for like PvP events or different community events. I've never like used it, but the system is there. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the only thing would be sustainable for that, because I mean, really, you're working for free. Right, when you think about it, you're providing a good amount of value to them for free. They're literally not doing anything except getting you a few prizes.
Yeah.
So it even that was difficult. Though, like getting Cacao support for the later tournaments where we did get support prizing. I mean, Cacao, did as much as they could to work with us and get us that support. But getting anything approved. I mean, it's just
nightmare.
It's corporate. Yeah, it's corporate stuff, right? Like you got to go through approvals. You got to it's very tedious, and annoying. So it was pretty difficult, but it was fun. It got me, into esports and like where I am today. So I'm definitely grateful for it. Wouldn't trade it per se, but don't think.
I didn't ask. Are you still at TSM?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we kind of missed intros, or like, beginning updates, but
the floor is open. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm still at TSM. I'm in the partnerships division. We actually just closed the largest deal in esports ever.
Wow.
Which
that's
is pretty
exciting. That's the cryptocurrency one, right?
Yeah, we are officially now TSM FTX. FTX is a crypto exchange that bought a naming rights deal for $200 million.
Wow.
That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, pretty big splash in esports and whatnot. So that's pretty fun. Lot of sleepless and tireless nights for that, but definitely worth it. But yeah, that's what's been going on for me for the most part. And then I hit my Pen Black Star, not maybe like
hell yeah, dude.
Fun.
Why in the world do I not have a Pin Black Star?
Dude, you're the only one that's besides Tim. I don't think Tim's gotten one yet. But
I just got to work harder, I guess. These 100-hour grind weeks is not enough.
You're lazy, dude. I got 2, and you play more than I do. What are you doing, Potion?
Potion, I heard you say it on stream though. You just don't like the method of getting it, right? Because like outside of buying it, you have to use crons, and that's like not fun for you, right?
Yeah, I feel like it should be the same value of grinding to buying up the marketplace, but people definitely spend a lot less money enhancing it than buying it.
There's large variance because like my first one cost me around 150, 160 bill at the time, and my second one cost me literally like 15 bill.
Yeah.
I think like such a hard variance,
something like that. I got pretty lucky.
To be fair, though, I think I decided to go for the accessories instead of pin accessories instead of going for black stars. So I feel like I have a lead there a little bit, but
true, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any pen accessories.
Yeah, it's killing me inside to see everyone else have one. I'm trying not to be jealous. It's really hard when you guys keep clicking them.
Yeah, Kerr, stop it.
Okay, but dude, look, I'm going for pin accessories now. I have one. I bought a pin Tungrad necklace a couple months back for like 86 bill or something like that. So I'm going for the rings too. Like my accessories are shit. I still use a pin Kaposha ring as one of my accessories. Like the accessory department's kind of rough, but slowly. So it's kind of like the same value, right? You're like all your accessories are done.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't kill people. I don't know what's up with that, but
Bro.
Dude, I don't understand gear in this game anymore. Like, what's the point? I get one shot and I can't kill people. And
Yep.
I'm like, I think I'm 296 Kudum. Like, I have gear, but it doesn't feel like it.
yeah, it doesn't matter how much you get. It always feels like you're getting killed too easily, and it's too hard to kill others.
Yeah.
I think the main problem is that if it was like less healing and less burst damage, then even if I didn't get the kill, I wouldn't feel bad because I didn't die. But like in this case, it's like you always die, right? It's almost always you die. So I don't know. It definitely doesn't feel good right now, at the very least.
Time to kill is really weird, especially because like it used to be, like potions would have a 4-second cooldown. Now it's like 1-second potions. So it's like even if you did have the gear to kill someone, you have to be able to out damage their pots, because if you can't one combo or at least 1.5 combo, then like they just won't die.
Mm-hmm.
So then it kind of like forces into like a one-shot meta, but then getting one shot doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like a really weird middle ground, I guess, where like you got to be able to one shot, because if you can't one shot with 1-second pots, they'll just heal.
True. One thing we didn't talk about was the leak on the website. The leak on the website was obviously we talked about the pirate class quite a bit. There was an image of the female pirate class. What we assume is the female pirate class, and with all the hints they've given us about it so far, it's basically confirmed it's a pirate class. But the other thing they had on there is they had images of each event that's coming. We're getting in the coming weeks. It's in Discord underneath topics. If you scroll up a little bit, I linked it in there. But basically, they have each one in there, and the one on the 23rd is obviously the rewards on after Heidel Ball, which is like the J Hammer and a lot of that other stuff in there. And I guess some kind of a big event with that. I'm really curious what you guys think is going to be after that one and before that one, because the one before is like a picture of an archer, and the only thing I could think of is maybe EXP buffs, because they typically give us EXP buffs around the time of Heidel Ball, or like the reset stuff. So I'm wondering what you guys think that one might be. And the one after it might be the ocean stuff, is why I kind of figured. But I was wondering what you guys think of the leaked images for the events, and maybe give like ideas what you think it might be.
Let me scroll up.
I'm not sure, dude. It could really be anything.
It is
To
pretty
be
broad.
honest, yeah. Like I never really know how to speculate when it comes to these events. Obviously, we know there's going to be a Termian beach. They showed the picture of the female pirate class, and there was a Reddit post where they data mined her like whatever little code where they released when they put a new clothes or classes files in the game. There's a Reddit post of that, so we know it's a female class, and we assume pirate because she's dressed like a pirate. Other than that, I don't know what they could do. Maybe something Mysteries of Summer. There's a lot of ocean content that they leaked that could be one of the events. But yeah, I don't know. It's really broad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the leaked images could be anything.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. I think it's going to be a experience events, and then who knows what the other one is. I think the Mysterious Dark Knight one, I think that's going to be Mysteries of Summer.
Oh,
And then
and they're talking about it on Heidel Ball, you think?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't if it's going to happen.
Oh,
soon,
that
and
makes
summertime.
sense, honestly.
And then it'll be the Shy is just an experience or life experience / Termian Water Park probably. Actually, the yeah, probably that. That's my bet.
Well, the first one was obviously a maid. That's why it kind of gave me ideas like, oh, the images somewhat represent the object that we're getting, and then like the 23rd is definitely like the rewards from the Heidel Ball, like for sure, because of the hunt, the J hammer and everything. So that's what kind of gave me the idea of that. I'm kind of surprised that the class image actually got leaked. Like that's the one thing that surprised me, is that actually have an image of the class is what's really surprised me about it all. What they did for Calcium Ball is they did 3 weeks of 300% EXP, and they gave us at the Calcium Ball, they gave out, I think on the following week or whatever, they gave out 8 300% scrolls. They had 300% combat EXP. So I'm hoping it's going to be some similar event like that, which will give a lot of people the opportunity to maybe level a new class when it comes out, and also enjoy leveling classes they're currently playing before the new class comes out and get that kind of tidied up. So that's what I'm personally hoping it is.
The funny thing with all the leaks is that it's always SEA that always puts up an image on accident on their website and leaks literally everything. It's just funny. Like, I don't know why they were even the ones that leaked Nova on accident. Like, they accidentally put up the post before it was supposed to happen. It's always fucking Red Fox, dude. I don't know what they be doing.
I just have some guy inside, and he's just
Or SA, not SEA, SA.
They what happened is they give some guy who's not supposed to have permission access to the website, and he can log in there. And so he's just logging in there and just messing with the files every time, just making sure it gets in there. Like, oh, we gotta get these hints in there. and then he's not in charge of it, so they go to the guy who's in charge of it, and he's like, oh, I double checked it. I knew it wasn't in there this time. I don't know how it keeps happening. They're like, if you have one more time, you're fired. Probus is already trying to take the publishing rights from us. You better not do this again. Like, there's some dude that's getting talked to about it for sure.
Never have to happen to Cacao. Just saying.
No, it didn't. It didn't happen. And you guys are better at answering tickets than Pearlbus. I keep hearing people in chat are like,
holy shit, dude. The ticket thing is garbage, bro.
Oh, there's people who they've put in a ticket when they took over and they still haven't got a response. I mean, that's months of waiting.
Tickets are fucking garbage. And they no longer recover like any crystals or anything lost if the server was having shit connection, like if the server was lagging. And it's fucking crazy. Their customer support is so bad now.
Yeah. I mean, people highly underestimate what Cacao did for the game. And I mean, the problem is like 90% of it was behind the scenes or stuff that they can't like express publicly. Right.
Well,
so like,
like intangibles, basically, right?
Well, no, it's not just intangibles. It's like I think they actually went to bat for several times against pay to win. And that ultimate say-so goes to Pearlbus when it comes to their butting heads. Pearlbus gets to say, yeah, we're going to do it anyway. And so, like, there were several times that it was very clear to me as a player where Cacao Games was like, hey, they don't want this. They really don't want this. Here's the blah, 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 500 reasons I don't want it. And it still happened. And, you know, obviously we won't know all those cases and stuff because it's, you know, they're no longer in charge and, you know, and everything. But I definitely feel like there was I wish that they again gotten the credit they deserve in a lot of those areas.
Yeah, I mean, I can 100% guarantee you that, you know, the GM, CMs, everybody, they expressed the concerns that NA and EU have. I think one of the many issues was that the lack of like lead time and communication. So by the time we like learned about changes, it was too late. You know what I mean? So like, if they decided they're putting pay to win in the game or whatever, or like a change that we know is gonna like people are gonna react badly to or say yell cry pay to win, the point at which we got it was too late for them to actually implement feedback anyways, right? Sometimes they would give us a heads up. Sometimes they would be like, hey, this is an idea that we're thinking about, blah blah, and like they would actually give us room to give feedback before just like running with it. But a lot of the time it was just like, hey, we're doing this, just like, by the way. And we'd be like, this is gonna be bad, people are gonna hate it, yada yada yada. And sometimes there'd be compromise, but a lot of times, Yeah, basically, bottom line is yes, 100%. Like, it's not like the it's not like Cacao. It's think about it this way: the GMs are not the ones being paid buckets of money. So like, and they're most of them are players too. So like, they have zero reason to be like, "Ha, screw the player base, give me my money," because they're not seeing that money. Where I didn't see any of that money.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I had
They're
no
not,
incentive.
it's not they're getting
to
commissions
increase
and
pay to
everything,
win.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's no like commission or like incentive program. You just fill out tickets and try and do your best to communicate sentiment and whatnot. So it's like there's literally zero incentive for at least at the lower level, right? Yeah, Cacao's company, yes, they want more money, but yeah.
Yeah.
The funniest point for me was Cronstones. Or like was it Valkscry? So before Valkscry and like, costume melting and stuff was in the game, everybody just called it Valkscry. Everybody said the moment that Valkscry enters the game, it is now full pay to win, right? That was kind of the universal line that most of the player base drew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day. The issue was, so Cacao, pushed as far as they could to get that not pushed in because of obviously whatever, but because that was a well known line to draw, right? So like they tried their best to find the best ways to implement it. Problem is because they called it Valkscry, they focused on implementing ways to get actual Valkscry items in the game. So that's why like Lila's petals and stuff were introduced, et cetera, et cetera. If you remember back to the posts, that's what they focused on. They said, we understand there's a lot of concern about Valkscry, et cetera, et cetera. So we've added, ways to get it in the game. People are like, oh, okay, cool. You can get it in the game. Nobody actually realized that the main issue was not Valkscry, but melting costumes. So like the community was outcrying against Valkscry, and they addressed it. The problem is the community is dumb and was crying about the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's because we already had Valkscry on NA, but the Cronstones were like, I guess at the time, 1 million from the vendor. And since Cronstones were 1 million from the vendor, like we're like, it's not a big deal. You couldn't melt down costumes, so it wasn't like on the radar of like possibilities you could melt down a costume for Cronstones. Like there's no way they would ever do something like that. I was like, I definitely like. That's when Dark Crusade quit, when they added Cronstones to costume melting. That's when he quit. He was like, that's the line. Like I can no longer compete with the people who can spend money in the game, so I'm no longer gonna play.
Yep.
Funny thing is, he came back and still had more gear than majority of players because he had fucking TED accessories back in 2018, 2019. Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, that guy's nuts. Isn't he like a doctor now or something crazy?
He has something in like accounting or law, something like crazy in maybe it was law or was it accounting? I forget. Some kind of like crazy degree.
Yeah. Good for him. He got out before he had too much money to lose on video.
Yeah, you can just come back and pay win all the gear now.
Exactly. He'll come back and do the exact same thing that made him quit in the first place.
Yeah, it's finance. Yeah.
Nice.
That was the reason why I quit BDO when they added the Patrigo. They added Patrigo to the game, and then they added where you could sell 5 costumes to the marketplace, and it was just enough money to be able to buy the majority of times Patrigo would list an outfit underneath that price. And so once they did that, that was where I quit. I quit for like 4 months. I played all the games and beat them all that I wanted to play, and I was like, I'm bored. So I was like, all right, I'm going to come back to my desert, but I'm not going to try hard anymore. No. And I mean, I don't try hard that hard anymore. And I definitely spend less money on BDO. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe I failed at that venture. I did quit for like 4 months though because of that.
Yeah, I quit BDO for like 8 months, but it wasn't for any reason. I just I started the job at TSM. I had like a 2-hour commute. I just didn't have time. And I went to TwitchCon. was that 2019? Yeah, I went to TwitchCon. So I didn't log in for like 2 weeks, and I was just like never booted it up again. I was like, okay. Played League and stuff for 8 months, and then COVID happened, and I was like, working from home, and I'm like, just thinking about all the stuff like how this is kind of like an ideal situation for BDO. Like just like semi AFK all day
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So I blame
Do
COVID for
you
bringing me
miss
back.
like TwitchCon and stuff? Because I've never went to any kind of gaming conventions or anything, so I never got like that experience. Do you guys like miss those things, like those kind of like conventions where like communities come together and stuff?
I wouldn't go
Uh,
every year. Like I wouldn't go every year, but I would like to go like maybe once every every 3 to 5 years, something like that. Like I'd like to go every so often just to catch up, and because there's like I met Zizarin, and he's like a huge streamer over on Path Exile now, and back then he had like 500 viewers when I met him, you know. So that was like kind
Yeah,
of
he's
cool.
huge now.
Mm-hmm. So you
yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. I was gonna say, to me, like TwitchCon is really the only like convention that I've ever been to. So I enjoyed it. I also like, I mean, I feel like the BDO community in general on Twitch is like really strong, right? Like it's small enough, but like big enough that it just makes for cool experiences, and then to be able to meet people and stuff. I don't know. I definitely do miss TwitchCon, but and I for sure would go every year. Actually, I have been to every single TwitchCon. Fun fact,
Really?
since inception. Yeah. I went, the very first TwitchCon was in San Francisco, and I was dancing for a company in San Francisco at the time, and so I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know anybody going. I tried to convince like a friend to go with me. Actually, they did go. I did convince a friend to go with me the second day, but like he was just a random. Like he wasn't like into Twitch very much at all, so he was just like, okay, I guess I'll go, but there's nothing to do. And I just like walked around and like just saw. I got like pictures with the odd one and like totally random stuff. Just like wandered around on my own. It was just a weird and kind of cool experience. And then the next years when BDO was live, and I actually had like people to meet and friends and stuff, and it was cool.
Yeah, I think that the TwitchCon experience, like, definitely is something that can't, like, I met Lakari there. I met, like, everybody I've watched for years on Twitch. Like, I met a lot of them. And it does, like, that type of experience is something that's, like, there's something different, like, meeting somebody you've, for the first time that you know really well. It's strange. It's sort of like, I'd sort of say, like, I don't know, like, maybe it's like you went away for like a week on a vacation, and you came back to your dog, and your dog's like, "I've missed you so much." It's like it's like just a really interesting experience to meet somebody in real life for the first time you know really well, but you've never seen personally.
Like if you talk people you talk to through a stream, right? Like through
Mhm.
the screen, I guess. I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Lakar is
Honestly,
definitely 6 foot tall for sure. By the
Yeah,
way.
at least. But no, I mean it's like I mean Potion, I've met you, but like Kerr, I've never met you in person. It would be like, we know each other. We like talk. We're like,
exactly. Yeah.
so it's like, it's just like seeing them. It's like it's different. Like being able to hang out with person
Mhm.
versus virtual, which I guess everybody in the world now knows what that's like with COVID, right? It's like now everybody knows what it's like to kind of be a game, like socialize as a gamer per se.
True.
Yeah, and like TwitchCon just I don't know, it really sounds like it could be cool because there's that one year, right? The last time they did it, where like Cacao, you guys hosted that PvP tournament, or was that PA that hosted that, where they had like the NA and the EU 3v3 tourney?
Oh, that was Cacao. That was when Dr. Paz, that was, pretty much the beginning and the end of the BSL, because
Yeah,
that's what got us there. But yeah, no, that was Cacao. Funnily enough, Pearl Abyss had a booth for Xbox and PS4. They had a booth at TwitchCon, like pretty close to the Cacao booth, and they like mentioned, I think they told Cacao about it like a week beforehand or something like that. It just goes to show, like, well, like they don't even communicate. Like they could have easily just consolidated booths, or like work together. But nope. Just fun fact.
Okay,
But that was
so mind blowing because I went to the wrong one at the start. I was like, I thought this was gonna be a lot bigger. I just thought this was huge. I was like, why? Where's the PCs? Like, why is there consoles out here? Like, who are you? It was Sherna. And he was like,
That's kind of funny.
and he was like, yeah. Like, pick it up here, try it out. Yeah, we're releasing it up to I forget what level they're like through Serendia right now. We're going to release it with Caltheon on release. He's like explaining it all to me. I was like, man, like I thought like I don't recognize anybody here. They're like, oh, you're probably looking for the PC guys. They're over there. And I was like, oh. So that I met Sherna. That was actually pretty fun meeting him too. I never knew I didn't know he lived in Korea until long later.
I don't. Are you saying like actively like he does or like?
Yeah, I think he lives.
Both
in
of
Korea.
them, right?
Yeah.
They both live in Korea.
Yeah, like they just walk right over to the developers and talk to them.
I'm pretty sure that's not true. It's very possible that they are actually in Korea. Maybe they relocated, but I mean they've had a North American office for a long time now.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I seem to remember when they were talking about it when they did the reveal stream for Nova. They were saying that they were in Korea. I don't know if they were there just like for that, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was just for that temporary time, but yeah, they were at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if they're permanently. I'm pretty sure they are though, because like they always like talk like if you listen to the Shadow Arena, they're like the voiceovers for the Shadow Arena YouTube channel. They always have like they both speak Korean. They're always the translators for the like Korean to NA for Heidel Ball. So like I think they both live in Korea, and I actually I don't know how much I want to say about this. I asked if like how like it would be to like work for them, and it's like, well, it's really hard to get people over here because you have to get a work visa, and like the Korean laws are really strict on that. So I'm pretty sure at least maybe they're not still in Korea, but at least one point they were in Korea for a long time.
Yeah, they do have a PA or an office in Cali, right? Like they already had one well before they set up.
They had one long before, or like in preparation for like for console launch, right? Because the console branch was mostly for NAEU.
Because I remember at one point where they started like flooding out job listings for different positions there at Pearl Abyss before console came out.
Yeah,
and then again once they took over NAEU.
We actually can estimate the numbers on that because of the earnings call from quarter 14 to quarter 4 to quarter 1 of the next year. We can actually kind of like see roughly the numbers they hired for it. It's actually kind of fun because we can know like roughly the employees they have at the NAEU offices.
Fun fact: I was offered a job at Pearl Abyss for impending PC takeover.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to go back to the grind,
dude.
I don't know. I had to seriously think about it.
Leaving TSM for PA though, like is that really the play? Is that really the play?
I feel
that's basically what it came down to. That's basically what it came down to. I mean, the position offered seemed very intriguing to me, and obviously, I love video and I've been a long time fan, so it did pull on that a little bit. But as a career move, I don't think it's the right choice for me.
I think one thing that's been really clear to me is that they're treating the CMs, GMs of NAEU the same way they treated Kakao Games. They're like it's the same. Like once a week, you get to submit your report, and it gets translated, and then you get to send it back. It's like I don't know. There's probably some small changes, of course, but it seems like it's more or less the same structural in place, which makes me think that like it's like if I give feedback, it's going to be a lot less meaningful unless they're intending to receive feedback, right? Like unless Pearl Abyss, the developers are intending it, right?
That's always like been the weirdest thing where it's like me not knowing any interworkings of a company like it's always weird to me that you don't have a direct line of communication from the publisher to the producer, which was a really weird concept for me to wrap my head around.
So there's a couple things. One, I mean, Potion, you've touched on this before, but there is a very big difference in like work cultures from Korea to America. Like a Korean work culture hierarchy is everything.
Mhm.
Like it really matters. Like I couldn't go to, I couldn't like send a message or email. What's the direct producer's name? J something.
Jae-hee Kim, right?
Yeah, J.E. Kim. So like no, in no world would I, even if I worked at Pearl Abyss as a CM, right? In no world would I ever probably speak to him directly. I would need to go through my manager. He would need to go through the proper channels to like get the message to him. So in that sense, just internally, like in Korean like work culture, that's kind of like the norm, right? It's a very hierarchical.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, I mean, frankly, I think honestly, at Kakao, I was even kind of viewed as somewhat the loud American because I have opinions and I speak them pretty clearly. Um, so, especially, like when Ricker left and stuff, I was pretty vocal. But yeah, so there's that to start with. So like things, and they're also a big company now. So like that, there's just corporate stuff moves slowly. So that's definitely one thing that's factoring in. The other is like, yes, it's still NAEU. You still have to go through translations. You still have to like adjust for the different, market demographics and whatnot. Um, and they have many, like, just like they have different development teams, they got a lot of different teams internally. I don't actually know like their full structure or anything. I just know that even where my position at Kakao to like their, it felt like we were going through an agency within PA to even get to PA.
Yeah, and it makes
Like,
sense because like for them, like they have to work with the publisher of Japan. Their I guess was it Pearlbus Japan, Pearlbus Russia, Pearlbus NA EU. Each one of those have like their own GMCMs, and so all of them are sending feedback. So it makes sense that they would have somebody like that, but that when you have that many levels of disconnection in there, it just makes it where you're more likely to. It's just like the game of telephone, right? It's like, hey, Gurr, tell so and so such and such, and it's like the next person gets it. And it's like 5 people later, even like 4 people later, it's just like you guys have no idea what's going on anymore.
Especially if you add in like having to translate through language barriers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It adds even more like layers of complexity or like chance for there to be a disconnect somewhere in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so it makes sense to me that I guess hearing that you say that makes a lot more sense why like Pearlbus NAU gives me the same feelings as Kakao did, as far as like the way that feedback is received by the developers, if that makes sense, right?
yeah. There's never going to be a perfect solution. It's a large company. I genuinely believe that, the GMs and CMs, whether at Kakao, whether at Pearl Abyss, they're players, right? Like we talked about, they're not thinking about the bottom line. They're not thinking about business decisions. They're thinking about what's the best for our players and what's the best thing that they can do for them. So, like, I have faith in the GMs and CMs, and like the people who are listening to us, I do believe, or like I would trust. It's just, where it's up to the higher ups to decide where all that stuff fits within the greater pipeline.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's just the tricky part. And I mean, it's going to be like that in any company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
let's see some more stuff they have going on this week. They have horse events this week, so you can train your horses. Node Wars buildings got buffed, and you can now repair faster, or I guess you can repair more HP, which I feel is like there's buffing healing, and they're not learning the lesson from buffing healing on classes. So kind of monkey yikes that they're buffing healing on structures in Node Wars. Let's see. They had a notable bug where they had to take down a service this week, and I'm just so surprised how often they had to take down the servers. Like, I feel like every week there's something.
Yeah, it's been pretty frequent lately.
Dude, I put my alt on a training dummy for 48 hours because I knew I wasn't gonna be at home for 2 days. And literally like 3 hours later, they did some kind of emergency maintenance, dude. So I got like nothing done in that 48 hours.
That's just your fault. There's like you should know
Fuck,
better.
dude.
I only recently started using training dummies, and I like so often just waste them because like every week I always forget about maintenance and just waste the buffs.
Yeah, that happened to me several times where I'm just like, the 16 hours, we'll be back. And then it's like, 3 hours from now is maintenance. Like, oh, gosh.
Yep.
What else do they have in here? Oh, dude, this is my favorite global lab change yet. I keep hoping to continue doing these quality of life changes. This one is you will now continue digging or bottling water after getting a sharper hard.
About time, dude. No longer have to equip your matchlock.
This is the type of changes I want to see every week, because these type of quality of life changes are like the super low priority ones that they almost never do. This has been a problem in the game since launch, like for the bottling, and since the desert came out, like it's been like, holy smokes. I'm happy this is happening. It feels like to me like they've just had this little trend right there. I can cancel workers. They actually cancel now, and I can nickname it workers. Like I like the I don't know, the byproducts of cooking got reworked. Like there's this small little quality of life things that are happening now, and I'm liking it. I just want to see a lot more of these, you know.
Wait, does anybody actually gather water in this game still?
Hey, dude, I was doing it because I couldn't figure out what to do AFK overnight, so I was like bottling water. Okay,
well,
there's still one person that bottled water.
Right,
I'm just thinking out loud here, but this saying that they maybe add some way where you could automatically pop energy pots and then gather in the desert. I mean, that would be some pretty good. That'd be some pretty good AFK money, I'd say. You know, compared to fishing. So I don't know I don't know if they'll ever add anything that allow you to auto pot energy pots. But that might be something we start seeing pop up a lot more in the desert. You know, if they ever do that.
Like, but why? Like, why do we need a new AFK thing to do as opposed to just improving the ones we have? That's like literally my biggest thing with BDO is I mean, you guys talk about it all the time too. It's just like you stop making new stuff. Just focus and improve on the stuff that's in the game. Because it gets so bloated very quickly because they have good ideas. They put out good content. Clearly, they have some skilled developers on their team. But we don't need more stuff at this point. Like that. Like,
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say they take that change potion and they buff it. It's like, okay, now they're going to have people optimizing for that. It's going to affect the economy. And now they're going to like gear towards that. And then fishing's still going to be where it is. Where it's been for the past how many years?
Well, I was more saying that people might be using macros for energy pots, but I wasn't going to say it directly. But that's what I was saying. I think when I see people start using that, because I don't think they bother with it right now. Banning people for it. I don't think it's not an issue for like energy, but it will be now. I think it'll be something that. Like it's going to be people using macros for like drifting or like it will be stuff like that, or like feeding pets or something like that, or like feeding workers. Like they'll do like a little small stuff. But I think it's something that definitely will start becoming a bigger issue now if they're not careful. I do think this is a really good quality of life change, but something that they need to. I feel like they need to keep like some trackers on, make sure people aren't abusing it in an unhealthy way.
That seems like the easiest thing in the world to track, though. It's like, okay, if this person is doing literally no inputs except for every 15 minutes and 10 seconds hitting one button, that's pretty suspicious. So I like that. I don't know. That's like a non-factor to me because
that's
like
fair.
having it's like. Yeah, it would be like a minor convenience thing, and they already have like pretty somewhat okay macro detecting stuff. it seems. So like I don't know, that doesn't worry me at all.
Yeah.
Just seems like yes, that is a good quality of life improvement. However, it's for something that doesn't matter whatsoever compared to the many things that they could have focused on. I mean,
Sure.
yes, I get it. There's different teams, different priorities, blah blah.
I'm
but
happy.
still,
I am happy with like small adjustments like this though, because like small and steady wins the race. Like they could easily do something along the lines of this for like they have hunting spots, right? The same team that's doing the small quality of life for this, when they get done with that, could just go on and be like, oh, we're gonna buff the yaks and Dregan to actually drop proper amounts of meat or something, so you actually can make money there with hunting. Like I don't know, like this, like small change. That's like another example of a small change that would be something that people would actually enjoy. And I do think that these things add up. It's not like I feel like right now BDO is dying from the death of 1,000 small bugs. It's like oh well, I get attacked and I'm hovering over my meal. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's like I'm trying to repair my gear, my tent, and you get attacked. Oh, it's gone. Like it's like. I feel like there's like a lot of bugs like that, and like a little inconsistencies where like, oh, I want to AFK gather water for an hour, and then I got a sharp right when I stepped away from the PC, so now I got one water and a sharp. So I think just making the game more enjoyable through the small things like that, I think is good. I am actually a pretty big fan of this. I think I might actually like level up my next character with Gathering in a Desert just to see how good it is, because I haven't done it in forever.
Bruh.
I mean, I have Artisan Gathering and all the other characters for my life fam, so I was like, what? I got to do something different than Wild Herbs for the 20th, 30th time or whatever it is. So, speaking
I feel like there's a lot of little
herbs?
things I could do.
You've leveled characters from gathering herbs?
Well, I don't. I love my gathering level at Wild Herbs. I have
gathering level. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got like level like 23 off gathering them. I think on my guardian or something because I didn't level her. But
yeah, he means gathering level, right?
Got it. I thought you meant you were literally like grass beetling it to like 60 or something.
It is actually possible on Shy. We did the math on it. It's like 2 months of full gathering at Wild Herbs. And it'll get you. I think it's 60 or 61. But you can.
Right.
We mathed it out, and it's like it should be something around 2 months to do it. So
that's because they gain combat experience, right, from life skills.
Yeah, they get bonus. I mean, I think everyone else it would be even longer than that.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying, Kerr?
Yeah.
No, you're good. I was just talking about like they could do. There's really easy quality of life stuff they could do to like fix just the overall feel and quality of life, right?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of true of like any game always though? Like
true,
there's always
yeah.
minor things they can improve on.
Like it's definitely not exclusive to PAM.
Yeah. And so yeah, it is good that they're doing, because we have seen like points in time where they have not addressed that whatsoever. So yeah, it is good to see, and yeah, it feels like not. I think Cacao. I don't have knowledge of this, so let me preface with that. Right, this is not like insider knowledge or anything, but it seems like Cacao had a pretty sweet publishing deal that they got at the beginning, because they didn't know how it would do in the West and all that stuff. So now that they have taken it over, and obviously they know the success of it, it seems like the company as a whole is like, okay, yeah, now we are willing to invest more into it, willing to actually buy some developers so that we have teams for all of these different things to keep pumping out content. I don't know. It feels like they're much more willing, because not only is it easier for them and they take it over, blah blah, and they want their reputation to be good, but like let's say it's 30%. I'm just throwing a random number out there, but like a 30% cut. If they're making millions a month, they're now making 30% more of those millions a month.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they released their numbers in what was it, Potion? Like NA or the like NAEU Black Desert Online is like 40% of their overall company revenue.
50%. 50% is Black Desert.
Yeah.
For PC, and then of their audience right now, I think their audience is currently like 40, like 3 or 4, something like that % in AEU.
Yeah, Vibes. They released a public released the Q4 earnings report. Was it Q4 from last year?
Yeah, I think
Earnings
I
report.
saw that.
Yeah, and we were like going through it a couple weeks ago.
If you scroll up in Discord, you can see the Q1, and if you scroll up a little bit more on that, you can see Q4, and you can look through that if you're interested. But yeah.
No, but what I'm getting at is like, we all saw the massive, like, obviously they were trying really hard. They did a bunch of events. They, hyped it, the whole transfer and stuff up, and like now with the tournaments and all that stuff. But even in the development cycles now, like you can see. I mean, yeah, I saw there's like an increase in developers and spending and stuff like that. But it's good to see that they're actually reinvesting into the game, right? They're investing into more development resources. They're investing into it, which is good because they're $1 billion company now, and like this is their flagship game. So it's good to see that they're not sitting on the money.
I'm curious if what that is though, because I think there's two reasons it could be, and I think like it's very clear to anybody who's playing Black Desert right now, who's been playing a long time, that they're investing way more into Black Desert PC than they were 2 years ago, for example. And like one would say, like, well, maybe it's because they're self-publishing now in AEU, and that might be part of it. I think also they realized that their mobile Black Desert is dying because they made it too pay to win, and
been dead.
Yep, it's dead, right? So like I feel like they're trying at this point to like, well, our only good moneymaker is PC, so let's not invest as much onto this. Let's polish it up a little bit, take care of it. It's like, we did have a golden goose. We had 2 golden gooses. Now we have 1. And I feel like that might be part of it, is that they're, not only are they having this additional revenue come in, but now they're incentivized to actually reinvest that revenue back into the game in order to continue making sure that it continues coming in.
Yeah. Real quick, what are their other, do they have any other titles other than BDO?
They have EVE Online and EVE Online Mobile, which is, I don't know what percentage of that income. I'd have to look at the thing.
They do something else, right, outside of gaming. They also have something else. I don't remember. They also have like their merchandise shop where they sell like different merchandise and stuff. I forget what else they have. They have something else that's like a revenue stream that's like outside of gaming.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that they are probably like their engine. I don't know if they like licensed out their engine and whatnot, because they built this whole BDO engine from scratch, didn't they?
Well, this
is like
the core of it is from another game engine, but I think it was like an open source like basic thing, and then they basically took that skeleton and then built on top of that and changed it into what they want. So I think they could technically license out the engine for the most part. They have like a lot of things, like the animal fur in the game is like NVIDIA technology. The cloud stuff is, I think, NVIDIA as well. The God rays are Yeebus. The effects are popcorn effects. I have like a whole list of things I collected trying to figure out how their game engine was put together. I mean, a game engine is like complicated, right? It's like you could have it's like your car, right? You could say there's a part, you could replace the tires, or you could replace the windows or the paint, or like there's all these different things you could change about it. You could change the chairs or the speakers, and it's like basically the same thing. That's why they call it a game engine, because there's so many different parts that you can change out in it. And so I don't think they have full rights to it, but I think they could license out what they do own and make good profit off that.
Yeah, I just remember, I don't know, maybe it was like E3 or some game show, or maybe it was just one of their presentations where they were just showing off like the graphics that they made. And it was like a picture of a house, like with big windows looking outside, and it was just like really, really.
I remember that.
Graphics. Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
That's NVIDIA. It's NVIDIA technology. That was like the precursor to like ray tracing, from NVIDIA. You can
but it was like Pearl Abyss like released it as like their engine or something like that. I mean, I think it was in like an article, maybe, I'm not sure.
It's it's a little after the time of Black Desert Remastered, or around that time. You can find it, but it is directly related to NVIDIA technology that was coming out at the time. And basically NVIDIA wanted to get their technology out there and like play tested, and so a lot of things in Black Desert are ran through NVIDIA to like showcase their technology. So yeah, I don't know exactly how much of it is. I'm not like an expert on that, but there is a lot in BDO that is from NVIDIA's side. And I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if they're paying NVIDIA or NVIDIA is just giving it to them in order to like showcase it and they're like, play testing it or something. That's actually how they got into Shadow Play too. They got put into Shadow Play, the GeForce experience, because of that.
Yeah, I mean, they have like deals with all sorts of game developers, right? They give out dev kits and have deals with them. No surprise there.
I actually wonder, like, I guess, like, if they'll eventually turn to like Black Desert 2 and like what kind of things they'll do, like. Going back to like the revenue side of things, though, I really hope that they continue reinvesting. Like you said, like I think that's actually like a really key point there. Like, if they reinvest into the game, I feel like they're on a really good path. This is the first time in BDO where I feel like the developers were developing the game in the direction that the players sort of wanted. And it's obviously their vision for it, but I feel like the first 2 years they just did the opposite of what all the players wanted. And then, like, I feel like the third and fourth year, it was like one step forward, one step back, and it's just back and forth. You're like, yeah, well, you did it, and then you're like, oh, why'd you do that? Stop that! And you're like, yeah, you did it. Ah! It's like back and forth every other patch like that is what it felt like. Or it'd be like you'd read a patch and it'd be like a line in there is like the first half was good and the second half is bad. You're like, oh, they don't. And then now I feel like now it's like always they're slowly going in the correct direction. And, I feel like they've learned a lot of life lessons, both Pearlbis and the developers themselves, about how to make games and growing pains. Because, at the beginning, they never anticipated it being this big. Like, I think they had a $200 million investment up front. And, like, that was, like, they've turned that, and it's turned into, a $1 billion company, right? So I think they never anticipated quite the success that it had.
Yeah. I guess going to like a broader subject, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most of us at this point are feeling a little bit of just kind of burnout, right? It's just same stuff, same gear grind, same everything. Even like, so what in BDO, what radical changes in BDO could they make to make you like just be like, okay, this is a fun game. I'm enjoying this. This is like, it's got great replayability. Other than just the clear progression, because progression, in my opinion, progression and combat have been the sole reasons that BDO is as successful as it is, because they built the progression system in such a way that it's so long term that it's rewarding and like it's fun to grind towards your next goals. But it's to an extent, right? Because now we're getting to the point where it was fun because you got those little hits every now and then as you're leveling up and gearing up. But now we're at the point where like, pen black star, pen accessories, blah, blah. These things are like super months and months long-term goals potentially, depending how much you play. So like
they need to do stuff like Shadow Arena. You remember Shadow Arena, right? Where it was like in the game and it was something fun you could do with your friends and you could like do it for progression, but it was still like a fun thing. I think one of the biggest mistakes they ever did was removing Shadow Arena and trying to profit off making it a standalone, honestly. Because Shadow Arena was so good.
Picture for you. You keep talking. I'll find it. Yes, I agree.
So, like, for me, it all comes down to there's several different forums. Some people are like, we need more Red Battlefield maps. We need more guild bosses. We need more field bosses. World bosses should be good again. We need dungeons. We need raids. We need to fill in the blank. But it all has one thing in common. Almost what everybody wants has one thing in common. They want the ability to interact with other people, whether that be PvP or PvE or PvX. They want an interaction with other people, whether in some way or capacity. And BDO lacks that in a really, really dire way. And I would like to see them turn a lot of the game systems on their head, and so to speak, where it forces people to interact with each other. And obviously that's going to make a lot of tension in some of those situations. And so I feel like the initial efforts should be not mandatory, but optional. But an example would be like fishing. Like fishing is like a single player activity. Like make it where you can catch a fish and you can basically skin a fish, keep all the fish meat in your boat, and then you can have one mega fish on the side of your boat. And if someone catches the mega fish, it's theirs. And like I don't know, like some type of player interaction. That's just an example, but like some reason to be in a guild and like working together in a guild. Like, and I'm saying these. I'm not saying it has to be like a multiplayer experience. I'm saying it's like a good example would be like flagging up at a grind spot. Like there needs to be some way where you're interacting with other individuals, whether that be like through intentional or non-intentional. Like it doesn't have to be group activities, but it needs to be some way to interact with other people. Like go to a town and then you get a bounty to go kill somebody, right? Or like go to a town and someone says, "I want to buy a fish," and you're like, "All right, I'll go get your fish for you." Like it's not like you have to be with the person, drive them out there on your boat. You know, he just says, if you bring me a swordfish, like I'm going to pay you 1 billion silver, right? That's what I want to put on my wall or something. Like those type of activities are where you have a more personal relationship. Because right now it's like I go grind at a grind spot, I go listen to the marketplace, somebody I don't know buys it, and then there's no interaction there at all. And I don't think all BDOs should be interacting because most people who play BDO don't want a lot of interactions. But there needs to be some element of that comes into the game to kind of make it like more diverse. That's what I say. Like it either needs to be that or they need to like completely throw out some of the systems they have and like and make like harpooning where you have to actually like spear a fish in the water or something like I don't know. They need to either do interactions or they need to like turn farming into Harvest Moon or something like that. Like they need to do like some extreme scenario that would not be expected because right now people are tired of the expected, so you have to do something that's unexpected, and that might not be what everybody wants, and that's called a risk, right? So like you could tear out all farming, make it where you invest 100 CP into a farming node, and then it turns into Harvest Moon. You can get cows there, you can get chickens there, you can plant crops. It's like seasonal. I don't know. You could do that, or like you have to do something that's crazy, something that people would not expect. I think a good start for that would be Pirate Class. No one would have ever guessed they come out with Pirate Class ever, like. And so I think that's like a good direction to go is doing things that are unexpected by their player base.
Yeah, I would just like something completely out of left field. I think it's not even a BDO problem. I think it's just an MMO genre in general problem where no matter what MMO you play nowadays, you just kind of want something different, something to like buck the trend because they're all like kind of the same, right? Whether you pay the theme park style, you're kind of just waiting for that 6, 7, 8 month update that like gives you something to do and invalidates your old progression so you have something to go for, or whether it's just BDO or it's like you're soullessly grinding for 2 AP so that you can grind 5% more effective. I think it's just like an overall MMO thing where we just need something different, right?
Yeah, it could be metas too. Like that's what League of Legends does, right? They just change the meta in the game, and then even though it's a pretty straightforward game, they change the items in the game and new meta emerges, and then they changed the class balance in the game, new meta emerges. They changed the way jungle they buff like beginner mage, like beginner junglers, and new meta emerges. Like and that creates like a lot of diversity and changing gameplay habits and stuff. And they could do something like that where there's a meta in BDO where maybe it goes from like life skilling to grinding to like trading for income or something like that. There could be like income diversities.
I mean, that's what I thought Season originally was, right? A way for them to do like really crazy different like game changing things. Instead, it kind of became like a rinse and repeat, just rush through the story and stuff. Just kind of weird. I feel like Seasonal had a bunch of potential to capitalize on.
Yeah.
Which is probably again why they like disabled it for now to like re-hit the drawing board.
I've been saying go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, metas, like we have seen many different metas over time in BDO. That's just something that happens naturally. Sometimes like back in the day, life skilling was king. You could make way more than if you knew what you're doing, like grinding. Now grinding is better, et cetera, et cetera. And for class balance, meta shift all the time. There was once upon a time where Ranger was top class. So That does happen, but in MMOs, especially like BDO, that happens far less frequent than a game like League of Legends. I don't know. I think I guess that's too broad of a question, right? Because everybody's got different tastes in BDO, and because BDO's got so many aspects to it, there's many different aspects to improve. So I guess you'd have to break it out, like life skill, what's the improvement? PvP, what's the improvement? Or what kind of change are you looking for? So I guess to broad or to get it more specific, like for PvP, Kerr, I don't know, Kerr, you PvP a bit, right, Kerr?
I do a shit ton of like RBF and like
Yeah.
that all the time. Yeah.
Hold up, I'm gonna
So
see
like
somebody over here. I'm gonna flag up on them.
Oh, just okay. So now you can join the PvP conversation. Got it.
I'll be just give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let us know when you come back with expert knowledge on PvP. But no, I mean, like, would you, people always talk about ranked arenas and like instance PvP essentially. Is that something that like you are interested in or excited? Would that get you excited in the game again? Is that
Oh, for sure. Especially because like it's really low hanging fruit. They already have the like circle arena in the battle or in the BA, right? Like that stuff like that's really, really low hanging fruit that I wouldn't even imagine would take a whole lot of development time, even if they just use their own arena of Arsha that we currently have. That's just like a base. At least, or I've again caveat. I've never done any kind of like development and coding and things like that, but I don't think it'd be hard to implement something like that, and it would make a lot of people happy, right? So I think I'd like it.
I I from my limited knowledge, which is possibly somewhat more than others, but honestly I don't think it's that much more. I don't think it's as feasible as people think, right? People are like, oh, it's just so simple. Just add it in. Um the way that, I mean, if you think about how the game is structured with like the different servers, they had to create, like Marnie servers and stuff like that, which does
True.
which means that they are thinking about, right, they're experimenting with ways in which they could introduce it, but fundamentally the way they built the game, like systems and maybe even the engine, aren't compatible with like normal instanced arenas like that we're used to seeing. Right? Think about how they did Arena of Arsha. I don't think they did Arena of Arsha the way they did it for immersion's sake. I think they did it because of like technical capabilities, right? They put it in the physical world on each channel, and so that's why you have this really terrible clunky system to even access it. So they would have to essentially create a new structure or restructure some of the current systems in order to accommodate that. So I think it would be a huge lift to put that in the game, which is one of the reasons why it hasn't been so far.
All right,
They have such a weird way of coding. It kind of seems like
I'm back. I
like
died
it's such
2
a
times. I got
background.
1 kill. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not an expert yet, but I
You're
got
a
some
PvP
experience.
god.
Yep, he's
That's the
got it.
BDO experience, dude. Kill someone 3 times and they come back and kill you. It's like
No, they
and
killed me
then
twice,
let's
and I
repeat.
killed them once. So they got the
Oh
opposite.
yeah.
But
For them.
that's like the opposite
I mean,
experience, but
that's
same
like my
thing, right?
PvP.
So, I mean, I guess you're right on the different servers and stuff. Like they did, one of the big things they did with the season technology is they had the ability to create new servers for the first time that were kind of more instanced. So, like that's what we have for the dungeon. The final encounter in a dungeon is instanced. And we actually have the Red Battlefield now is all the not Red Battlefield, the battle arenas are all instanced now. They're not on a server anymore. As far as I'm aware, they're not. They're on their own individual channels.
Yeah. So, yeah, that actually gives me a little bit of hope that it is still possible in the future, right? Because they swapped the arenas and places. They made channels for RBF and Arena, so they are experimenting with that technology, right? So it does give me hope that in the future they might be able to come up with some sort of system. I still think it's not. I don't think it'll ever be as straightforward as most of their MMOs. I think it's going to have to be some sort of odd system. And I don't know how they'll do matchmaking. but we have seen queue systems for what?
I mean,
Ultimate
we
Warrior?
had it before because there used to be this game mode where you could do it's like a party. It was like a party v party PvP thing.
It's still the game, by the way.
Yeah,
The
yeah, but
5v5?
yeah, it was like
It's
the
called
5v5
Team Battle.
Yeah, team battle. Like it's just it used to be a thing like and it was alive for like a day or two. I don't even know why it died, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
So
terrible.
I'll elaborate there. Team Battle is, and this is also one of my suggestions that I beg them to do, because this is literally the lowest lift possible with like the greatest reward. And this is still a valid suggestion. Considering we have nothing in the form of like small scale structured PvP at the moment. The way Team Battle is currently structured is it's 2 teams of I think 5 or 10 players. I think it's 5. 2 teams of 5 players. You then just do a King of the Hill basically, and then so like one person. What usually happens is one person's overgeared or whatever, and they just sweep, and so you have 4 people or 2 or 3 people standing around, literally don't do anything for the entire battle, and then you either win or lose. And it's like takes like I don't know 15-20 minutes per game mode. It's like so you could literally sit there for 20 minutes watching PvP
Never play.
and not even be able to participate. It's like the worst designed thing possible. But I think if you get into like a tie, so if it's 1-1 or something like that in like rounds or whatever, or wins, they go to a tiebreaker, which is basically they just release you onto the field 5 versus 5. You kill each other. I was like, take away that whole first thing. Just give us the 2 teams on one battlefield and fight each other. That's literally the simplest thing you could do, and they already had the matchmaking set up for it because they already like split the teams up based on gear, whatever. They would need to tweak it, of course, make sure you can't like gear swap and whatever to cheese, but like that's like the easiest thing possible to do. Scrap the first part, leave the second part, let people queue up and just pug 5v5s. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how simple could that be?
Yeah, it's not that hard. You just make it automatically go to the split round tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Team
Battle sucks.
I actually like for PvP stuff. Like, I am a big fan of immersion. Right? If I'm playing an MMO, I want the game to be immersive. Like, I'm playing Master Chief. I want Master Chief to feel like Master Chief. If he feels like ODST, that's not it, fam. I'm there to be the boss, right? I'm there to be the guy who jumps out of a plane, lands, his armor unlocks, and he stands back up like it's no big deal and starts killing space aliens again, you know? Like, that's what I want to do. And I feel like in an MMO, like, that's designed to be open world, like, I want the PvP to be open world, and I feel like there should be objectives for that. There should be, like, some field bosses, which are this spawn publicly, and the guild that does most damage to it should get the loot. Like, there should be, like, I don't know, there should be, like, guilds can take over a grind spot on certain channels, and it's like, we own this grind spot. If you kill mobs here, you don't get loot. We're the only ones who get loot. Like, there should be, like, objectives like that in the world where you can conquer them. Like, the reason Node Wars is cool is because it's part of the game world, right? It's like you go in, you actually get to fight in the grind spots that you actually grind in, and that's, like, really cool. Like, I feel like everything should revolve around the open world. And I'm not saying that there can't be arenas and stuff like that, but if there want to be a 1v1 arena, let there be a 1v1 arena in like Caltheon, make that robust, and then you go to Caltheon on your horse, and then you just sign up, and then you just automatically you all get put into the same server, and you're all sitting in the bleachers, and you can rotate around and like go through rank queues and all that stuff. Like, make it feel like you're immersive, and the way you make it feel immersive in a game like BDO. It's designed to where you have to physically travel to the point, and that physical travel is what makes you feel like you're there, because you have to, like, oh man, I really want to do some PvP. Like, oops, I forgot to unflag. This person's mad at me. If the way you feel immersed in BDO is like, for me at least, it's just like you walk around. That's what I really feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to like what we were talking about before with the risk reward, right? Right now there's always a slight risk when you're grinding, right? Someone could just roll up on you like a jerk like Potion Shop and just flag up on you and kill you while you're grinding. But
worst.
but like that risk is super low, right? People just duel for spot. you are kind of protected with the opportunity to karma bomb whenever you want. So like there isn't really as much thrill. If you want that thrill, you go to Arsha. Um, so I don't know. And I mean grinding isn't like I agree. And it used to be like that. Like I remember being farmed by Veritas at launch, trying to go to Beg, right? Trying to kill Beg and get that stuff. They would like monopolize the field bosses for their guilds. And like, they deck as many guilds as they can and just try and like farm you, so that so the drop table would favor their guilds. But I agree. And wait, what didn't they said something about the geysers, like they're gonna implement something like that, right? Open world objective PvP. Wasn't that something they mentioned in the last Heidel Ball?
They did this thing on Global Labs where your guild can set up these desert drills in Valencia and like mine resources, and other guilds could like attack your drills or some shit. They didn't really go too deep into it, and they added these like army tanks to Global Labs that's somehow related to it. It's kind of, they didn't really go very, very deep into detail on it.
I mean, I do think they are, like, right now they've done a huge amount of PvP things on Global Lab. Like, they have a sheriff system. They have any guild can deck any guild again. They have a new node war system entirely, which mercenaries are disabled in. They have, you can now have Kama Sylv node wars. They have these, like, the drill things, like you said, in the desert. They're doing a lot of things related to PvP, and I feel like at this point they have done so many different things. It's more about them just making sure that those are fun and tweaked properly. Like the sheriff system goes in tandem with karma, so you kind of have to fix karma for the sheriff system to work properly. But like I feel like once all those are pushed out to us and they're in a form that they believe is acceptable, then I feel like I'd be more comfortable commenting on what they need to do. Exactly, like what, because right now, like my problem is I like open world PvP and like feeling like I go to a place in the world and enjoy PvP. Whether that be I go to an area and do node wars, or I go to a grind spot and flag up and kill somebody, or I go to a GVG that's happening in the game world. I like that feeling, and I'm just kind of curious, like if these things are, like the things they're working on right now seem like they're trying to fix all of those. But this is hard to really know for sure if they will or not until you get your hands on them, right? So I guess that's what I'm curious about. I do think that they are going the right path, though.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like I said, they've talked about so many things. It's like, yeah, they all sound great. Just give us some.
Yeah, and don't forget to fix them when they're not right.
Yeah. That's the thing I have disliked the most probably about their development, and I mean I've said this earlier, but like the fact that they just make stuff, leave it in the game, don't touch it, right? I don't know if they like don't want to admit that they're wrong, that they've made a bad product or decision, but like they gotta fix and improve the stuff that they put in the game. They can't just like dump it and then leave it and then be like, okay. I mean, what how many things? The Papu, Savage Rifts, Altar of Blood, like so many systems they've just implemented, dumped in the game. People do it for a week and then that's it. It's like the least effective use of resources, I feel like, from a development perspective.
Yeah, and it's like, and at this point, like they refuse to remove them on top of that, so it almost makes it even worse because new players come in and they're like, "What are these 500 different things that?" And the player's like, "Oh, those don't all. None of those matter." They're like, "Team battle? Nope. Altar of Blood? Nope. Savage Rift? Nope. Arsha Arena? Well, maybe, but not for you." It's like it's like all of these things are just not really good. It's like Altar of Voltara, like Mirmok bosses, like there's so many different things now. They're just, I feel like they need to go through and like sort of like clean house and just remove them all, and then figure out what they want to be in BDO. And what's always worked in BDO so far is like open world stuff. Like this is always what's worked. Anything that hasn't been open world has almost failed at this point, aside from I guess Red Battlefield.
I mean, forced interaction is kind of a double-edged sword because I mean, honestly, part of the draw of BDO is like it's largely a single-player game, right? Like my progression isn't gated by someone else's, or by like partying with someone else or doing party content. But the moment that you force interaction, you potentially alienate those people, or you know, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I don't
especially if it involves conflict.
I don't agree with forcing. I think creating opportunities for people to opt in is a better way of doing it. An example of this would be a rotating arena or a rotating Arsha hotspot. So like every in-game day, there's a random Arsha hotspot for 4 hours for a BDO day, and so you could opt to go there, or you can opt to avoid it. And but it gives people a way to change playing the game, and you could do the opposite. You could do an Elyon grind spot where it's PVE only. So if you only want PVE, you can just rotate between the PVE only grind spot for that in-game BDO day. Like I feel like those are the type of things where, because I don't like for if you're forcing somebody to do something, then they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like Shadow Arena that's the whole reason Shadow Arena like failed, because they made it too good income and people felt forced to do something they didn't want to do. And there were some people who enjoyed it for sure, but like I did Shadow Arena for income. Like I literally just AFK'd in a building until I got to the top 15, and then ran around until someone died, picked up the gear, got the top 10, and then I got my payout, and I made like more money than I would have ever made grinding.
Yeah, I mean that's always been an issue that the devs have had is creating new content or new ways to kind of play the game or progress, but then balancing it with all of the other things. Right? That's always been like incredibly difficult for them, understandably to an extent. But the difference with Shadow Arena was that even without rewards, like it could have had RBF rewards, right? Like pitiful amount of money. People still would have played it because it was a fun activity to do. The difference between that and like Savage Rift or Altar of Blood. I mean, Altar of Blood is, I guess it's interesting like the first time you do it, but it's like Shadow Arena was fun. The activity itself was enjoyable enough that the rewards were whatever, which is extremely rare in BDO, right? Because everything comes down to efficiency in BDO. So it would have to be extremely fun to forego, like to be willing to take the lesser efficient route, right? But you see that with Battlefield. It's terrible rewards, but it's something to do. It's something people enjoy. It's all that we have for PvP, but it just goes to show, like, if you make a good game mode, if you make a good activity in the game, people will play it. People will do it regardless of the rewards. And so, yes, you should still try to balance the rewards and have them be like comparable. But clearly they haven't made fun stuff.
In my opinion, Shadow Arena is the most fun content they ever added to the game.
100%.
Hands down. Like just like it was so fun on like a Friday night to hop in Discord with Aruka and some of the other homies, and just we would literally play drinking games. Literally anytime, like every time like we got a kill, we had to take a shot, or not a shot, but take a drink. Or like every time you died, you take a shot. Like it was really fun to just run threes and just have fun, right?
Yep.
And still make progression on the side. Obviously, there were people that cheesed it with like speed hacking and like playing a short class like Tamer and hiding under the wagon or whatever. But like again, like, it was just so fun to have that player interaction with other players and like Discord and shooting the shit and stuff. I really hate that they put it into a standalone game that literally averages like 20 players at any given time on Steam. Like that's
probably
crazy.
the greediest decision they've ever made as a company, in my opinion.
It really was. Even if they had to do something else to like monetize it, I don't know what they were trying, like aiming for. They saw how popular it was, so they thought that they could just monetize it. But whoever made that decision, that was a really bad decision, dude.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. There's a whole lot of politics that went into that too, which I can't get into. But regardless, like I think you hit on something important for like content for them. Kurt, it's like it was the barrier to entry, right? The difference, so they've put in party grind spots. Like people have always asked for more party stuff to do, blah blah blah. They're like, okay, cool, yeah, here's some party grind spots to do. But it's like it's just more of the same, right? It's not a fun activity. Versus if you had like a ranked 3v3s or even non-ranked, just like I said, team battle, right? You just queue up with 5 dudes, you just fight whoever, like you just brawl, right? You just keep it kind of like you can go sweaty in it if you want, or you can just mess around and have fun. But we don't have those options at the moment. We don't have like any kind of game mode that's enjoyable, and like they don't capitalize on the most enjoyable parts of this game, which largely are the combat and like the kind of like the immersion in the atmosphere that they built. So
yeah, like it's like one of those things. Like even like you said, like even if it is harder to develop a ranking or queuing system, I mean they're a multi-billion-dollar company, right? At this point, like I feel like that could have been a good excuse 3 years ago, but at the point with all the revenue they make, like I think like low-hanging fruit like that is worth the development time. Personally, and like it's one of those things where like even if it's not successful, then it's like, okay, you still gave the community what they thought they wanted, right? And obviously you shouldn't always give people what they want, but there's so many people ask for like ranked arenas.
I feel like it's worth trying, right? I feel like it's not
exactly.
I don't think it's worth like them investing all the resources in all their eggs in the same basket, but like being able to run to like example Heidel and queue for a 1v1 arena, right? Like that seems like a really low effort thing to do, is just talk to an NPC and it puts you in a queue and then you get thrown in when it's your time, like to have it on the, or like just take it, they already have that in the battle arena, right? They already have that in the battle arena where you can just talk to NPC.
That's what I'm saying, right?
In, like,
it's already there. The circle's already there. They already have the queue system for that.
Yeah, like just make it where when you beat somebody, you either gain points or lose points. Like, and basically the amount you gain or amount you lose is based on how much the person you have fights, right? And I mean, just it's like that would be like even a start. And then if that takes off, right, then you're like, okay, well, how do we make it better? People actually played it, So
if only.
Yeah, I really just don't understand like what their hesitancy is on it, right? Because it's not like the one thing I worry about though is their development philosophy has always been, don't give us the answer, give us the problem, and we'll come up with the answer ourselves, right? Who said that? Biceptimus Prime said that recently, and it's very true. Like they'll almost never listen directly to like an exact solution that the community provides, even if it's the perfect solution. They'll rarely listen to it. They have to come up with their own homebrew version of something, right?
It's almost like you tell them what you don't want them to do, and then they'll do what you want them to do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a bad philosophy. It's a bit cocky and pretentious, you know what I mean? But but like, so I worry a little bit that like they, I assume they're working on something, right? They already said they're working on like the 10v10 open world thing. But whatever we get is gonna be, it's gonna miss the mark slightly. Like they're gonna answer our requests in ways that they feel answer it, but don't. Right? Like the problem for us is we look at other games and other like WoW and just literally any other game out there with like ranked PvP or like some sort of ladder system, and we're like literally just copy it. They seem to refuse to do that for whatever reason.
Yeah, like even like you can definitely tell it in mobile games. Mobile games are like the kings of ripping off each other's things, and they all do the exact same thing, but they make so much money. Literally, I don't see why they don't just take that. Maybe it's a pride thing or what, but who knows?
Yeah, that's why I said it's like kind of cocky or pretentious. Like, no, we'll find a better solution. Whatever you have isn't good enough. We'll find a better one. It's like sometimes you just simplest answer is the right one.
Yep, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
That's my philosophy.
Changed my life.
I feel like that's like a good example of that is like, okay, like if you just look at how they balance PvP, it's like, all right, well we need stronger awakenings. All right, give them another awakening ability. You're like, could you just buff our abilities? Like, no, we have to give you a new awakening ability. All right. It's like, we need more awakening buffs. Like, all right, we gave you a bomb skill now. And they're like, well, that wasn't it either. And they're like, fine, we'll buff the darn abilities. Like, after all this time, you know? And it's like, I definitely feel like that's where it comes from. Like, they gave us the LV ability for awakenings. They gave us the new awakening ability, and they gave us the Rabomb. And when all that didn't work, then they're like, fine, we'll buff the awakening abilities. You know, it's like, ugh. Like, couldn't you have done that originally?
Yeah. I mean, that's where like team battle came in. That's where, you know, it's where a lot of stuff comes in. It's like they came up with, or they understand the problem, but they're like, nah, let's take the most convoluted path to find the solution as opposed to the simplest, straightest path.
Now, I can tell you why it doesn't get fixed. I can tell you that. Now, in Korean culture, they want to do everything to the best of their ability. That's their desire on average, right? I'm sure there's bad apples like everywhere, but like they on average want to do the best of their desire. And so if you said, okay, let's say they like the Law and Succession buff, for example. Law and Succession buff got a 25% crit rate buff. Didn't deserve it. Way too much. They should probably remove it. I mean, anybody would probably tell you they should probably just get rid of that. But they will never do that because it insults the guy in Korean culture who made the decision to buff the Law and Succession. And so because of that, they'll wait until like the guy gets moved to a different position or the guy gets fired or he moves to another job. And when that happens, they'll immediately just change it right away. Fixed. And like that's the type of thing that happens in Korean society because they don't want to be rude to the person that made the choice to do that. And that's like that is one of the biggest problems in Black Desert is like that's why they don't want to nerf classes because like Striker right now Striker Succession has been strong for a very long time, but if they nerf him, that guy who's probably still in the company, right, is going to get is going to be rude towards them, and so they don't want to nerf it. And on top of that, if you nerf Succession Striker, then the Succession Striker's gonna be why we don't just buff everything else? Why? And like they're getting it from both sides, but the correct answer would be maybe nerf the top 5 classes and buff buff the bottom like 30 classes, right, and then meet in the middle a little bit. And so that's just an example of why Korean culture they don't really fix things that were a big issue recently. And just you can look up there's like a famous plane incident where like the co-pilot realized that the pilot was flying the plane in a way that would crash them, and he thought it would be rude of him to correct the pilot as a co-pilot because he was the senior. And so he didn't correct them, and the plane crashed. Like, straight up, the plane crashed. They pulled out the black box, listened to the recording, and the guy did not... It was like, oh, I think you should make a diversion. Like, that doesn't look too good. Like, I think the plane's not going that well. And he's like, no, it's fine. And just sat there, let the plane crash. And it's like, it's a really good example. It's an extreme example, but it's a really good example of how ingrained this is into the Korean culture. And they do try their hardest to do the correct job. And so that's why it's really hard for them to, like... And for me, I don't see it as making a mistake. I just, like... We're all humans, right? Like, sometimes these things happen, and to get to the best product, you might have to make a couple iterations on it. But it's just not the Korean mindset on it, unfortunately. So I hope that's something that they can start working around eventually, because they've taken on a lot of foreigner talent recently to kind of get more rounded opinions, and so I hope that's something that they can start working better with in the future. I forgot how I was relating this to what you said. I apologize.
No, it's just it's all good. We're just talking about how they can make better fun stuff and their refusal to like change stuff. But
yeah,
no, I think that's really interesting about the pilot story. I don't know. That's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of it is like, because I mean, Jay has gone on stream and stuff and apologized for what he apologized for Renown Score, right? Like he said, like, "Yep, that was a mistake. Our bad." Well, I think that was one of the biggest things that they.
And the thing is that for the NA player base, like we're just happy it got removed, right? It's not like we didn't need an apology from him, but he felt so moved that it was a mistake that they apologized for it, right? But the NA player base was like, it's gone. Thank goodness. Woo, they listened to us. Let's go. And that just shows the cultural difference there. Like, I'm trying to think what was another example of that. Oh yeah, they apologized for not having better costumes. Like they felt like there was such a big deal that they were not releasing costumes fast enough for the NA community that they
should have.
They apologized for it, and I was like, I just like that thing in America would never happen. Imagine Microsoft getting up there and apologizing we didn't have more colors to the new Xbox. Like that is never going to happen in a million years. Even if people complained to the wazoo and back, they would never apologize for it. They'd be like, hey, you don't want it, don't buy it. It's fine. That's just never going to happen. And it's just the difference in the cultures. So, we've been going for a long time. Look through the topics to see if there's anything you want to touch on.
Let's see.
I don't even think I read the topics. Whoops.
Our topics are good.
Actually, well, I mean, I think you guys talked a lot about Lost Ark, but I honestly don't know much about it. I don't know if you want to do like a quick, quick overview, I guess, of it, just for like kind of what it is, just what the game's about, your initial impressions and opinions.
So it's isometric, which means it looks like Diablo 3 or Path of Exile has a top-down view. It has its in-game is rating, and it has a ton of PvP mechanics, as in like set gear for like 1v1s, and it has like a 3v3 arena. It has a lot of these things built into the game that you can experience at launch, even if you don't have a geared character or anything. And it's like its main selling point. Overall.
I think I heard that from Saint that PvP is like all equalized, like even open world and like the siege style stuff, right?
Yeah. So like I played a buttload of Lost Ark when it came out. It's been like 3 or 4 years ago now, and the PvP was like the main draw at the time. They had like different kinds of they have like gear equalized and non-gear equalized. And they had a pretty a pretty big story with like different dungeons and things. I couldn't understand any of like the dialogue, obviously, because I don't speak Korean. But it was kind of enjoyable at the time. The biggest thing was like the gear equalized 3v3, like gauntlet style arena, right? Where like one person fights at a time and it's 3v3 and the gear is really equalized. My biggest fear for the game is that they eventually added these things where you could pay real life money for instant dungeon clears, and like it would instantly clear the dungeon and give you loot. So I'm really curious to see how they monetize it, if they follow that same route or not. But the PvP was really fun, honestly, at the time.
That's super. That seems like straight out of a mobile game that I like, the autocomplete.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really interesting that they would add that. But then, okay, so you grind and you get your better gear and stuff. But if all PvP is like normalized, what are you using that gear for? It's just like BDO.
So there's different kinds of PvP, right? So like you have those gear equalized arenas, you have non-gear equalized arena, and then you also have your like siege wars that aren't gear equalized, and you're gonna have your own gear. So there's like a mixture of the two. Depends on like what aspect of the game you care about.
Okay, so it's kind of like T1s and BDO then. So it's not everything is equalized.
Yeah, not everything is equalized, but a portion of it is. It's like for most of the things at the time, obviously the game has changed a shit ton since I last played it 3 years or so, but it's one of those things where like at the time, all of the gear, the non-cap stuff had a capped counterpart at the time. But now they do like these different seasons things. I think they're on season 2 or season 3, so I don't really know how all that works. There's a alpha going on for it right now.
Oh wait, I think I actually got in
for like the NAEU.
Did you guys sign up for it?
No, it has an NDA thing for it, so I didn't want to get into it. I want to wait for the beta. The beta is supposed to come out, and I want to know if you can stream that. That's what I'm interested in. But they closed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems interesting.
Yeah, I think in Korea it's about 5 times more popular than BDO is. So I mean, it's definitely a good game. It's also like just looking at the packages you can buy. There's already like EXP boost in there and like all sorts of other stuff. So I think it's going to be very similar to BDO as far as it's monetized. There'll be some things that would be akin to artist memories or cronstones or like time savers is what I would call them, right? So that'd be like the dungeon clear thing. But it does seem like it's you can keep up and enjoy it without having to spend a lot of money, similar to BDO, where it has that fine balance between the two. So I think anybody who's interested in BDO would also be interested in Lost Ark.
Oh yeah, it's a really really fun game. I definitely recommend trying it. As a BDO killer, I don't think so, but it's definitely gonna have like a pretty big player base if it's even a fraction of how popular it is in Korea. Because in Korea, it's like top 3
Yeah.
for like MMOS games. It's like top 3.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it's topping charts in Korea, so that's also got me kind of intrigued. But I mean, it does seem more like because Guild Wars 2, I guess, is kind of more probably one of the more like hop in and play style MMOs, right? Where it's like, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can kind of jump into like the end game gear type stuff pretty quickly. No, in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, they have World v. World.
I never played Guild Wars,
and I think it just gives you standardized gear in there. But there's also a way you can get extra gear to do World v. World. But it's like you can get pretty easily. I don't think it's like any great barrier or anything. I forget what the other actives are.
Yeah, basically it seems pretty casual friendly, which makes sense why it would be popular. Also, it's got the top down, so it probably plays a little bit similar to League of Legends and whatnot. Which
it has that like MOBA-esque feel to it.
Yeah, so
like
I
the ARPG.
See, yeah, where that's going to tap into that market a lot more, which is probably fairly sized, especially in Korea. But I don't know. After Diablo 2, or like once I basically Diablo 2 is like the only isometric game that I really got into and enjoyed. Well, I guess they were all back in the day, kind of like isometric, the MMOs, but
yeah, the only thing like that nowadays is like Path of Exile, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm for sure playing Diablo 2 remastered or whatever it's called.
Resurrection?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Fun.
It's crazy. It looks better than Diablo 4. If you do like a side-by-side comparison, like the spell effects have like brighter, like more colorful, more vivid. Like
it's because it's not gonna be on mobile.
The Black Desert the Black Desert what's it called? I keep saying I'm all confused right now. The Diablo 4 graphics don't look near as like vivid and stuff. Like I'm really surprised by it. And the thing is, you can toggle the graphics on and off. Like it's just like you can just press the button and they just go off. Press another button. So they perfectly mirrored the exact animations with the new graphics. It looks good.
Yeah, I saw the alpha stream that they did not too long ago, where they let a bunch of people were streaming it and whatnot. I think I was watching Sven play it. I don't know how you say his name, but yeah, he was like toggling like the skin of like the remastered and like the base game on and off. So it's like literally the exact same game with a reskin, and you could like see exactly kind of how it would play out. It was pretty cool. So I actually like that it's. And I hope it's going to be basically the exact same game with, like quality of life improvements.
Apparently, everybody's upset about the blacksmith because the blacksmith has this voice like, "Hello, adventurer, I will protect you. Let me repair your gear." And it's like then when you actually when they remastered her, because in the old version she's like this pixelated chick, you can't make out anything, and in like the resurrection version she's like this huge hunking woman like. Yeah, but the voice is still like, "Hi, I will help you," and everybody's like, "No, you're supposed to be hot." So like it's like all these 30-year-old men who played Diablo 2 are like crying about there not being this hot girl of their dreams that they had when they were like 13 and playing Diablo 2.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get the the rose tinted goggle people on and whatnot, complaining about the slightest differences. but
Yeah, it's gonna be
it should
good
be
though. I'm gonna live through Quincy 9. He's gonna play through it, I'm sure. So I'll live precariously through him. Other game is Elden. Have you seen the trailer for Elden Ring?
I
Yes,
saw bits and pieces.
Holy smokes!
it looks sick. But I'm really crazy about Dark Soul-esque things,
The thing about
so I'm kind of biased.
yeah, but the thing about it is like the graphics are what get me. Like there's some parts of it are like they're like a little mismatched, but like the background sceneries in particular, they're so vivid. Like if you look at Black Desert's background like sceneries, it's like there's a 2D mountain and a blank sky, and you look at Elden Ring's background scenes, and they remind me of like Halo 2 backgrounds. There's like extreme detail, and like everything is like really, really paid attention to. And
Yeah, I really like the visuals. I was really that, but it kind of like I not the biggest thing is I don't know what they're trying to cater to. If it's like, is it like an RPG? Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know what it's supposed to be at this point, right? You know what I'm saying?
because of George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, or also just because it's like been known about or been waited on for so long. I don't know like if they've changed the direction or like what target audience they want to cater to, right?
Well,
So I don't know anything really about the game. I don't think I've even seen the full trailer yet. Is it? I mean, it's Dark Souls-esque. Is it the same company? Is it like a not really a sequel, like a side sequel or something, or like what? What is it?
No, it's completely different as far as I know. Yeah, it's
So-
completely different.
I think it's like one of the lead developers who basically invented Dark Souls, like left and joined this project, and he's like the guy who's designing it all. And then George R. R. Martin got together and was like, "Hey, you need somebody to make a really good background story for you? Like, I'm the best."
Yeah, you think that's what happened?
and I feel like it's going to be a Dark Souls game that has like a really, really cool underground reason for why you're doing a thing. Because in Dark Souls, it's sort of like, pick up those souls, go to the next place, get some more souls, get to the next place, and kill that guy over there. And I feel like this one is going to have that Dark Souls combat feeling, but give you the player like more of a motivation to do it outside of like, this game's a blast, you know? I feel like that's where George R. R. Martin comes in here, and you see that in like the dragons and the way they create things and like the strong lore feeling that everything has.
Wait, did you just say Jar Jar Martin?
George? Why leave me alone?
No, I'm just imagining like Jar Jar Binks, like a meme being born. Like his next book is terrible, so he just gets the nickname Jar 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 Martin. That'd be pretty good.
He sub makes games, bro.
Oh man, that's what we'll call him if the game flops. If the story sucks, we'll call him Jar Jar Martin. How about that? It does. I have seen a few like screenshots. I think I like was watching a stream and like they popped up or something. But I do agree. Like I don't know. There's like this big old like celestial tree in the background. That looks
Yeah.
cool. I've never. Okay, don't judge me too much, but I've never actually finished a Dark Souls game.
Vote him off the island, dude.
Yo, I haven't finished one either. You're fine.
Vote him off the island too, dude.
One day.
Where's
one day,
Moreland when you need him, dude? What the fuck?
It's on my bucket list. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I've also not really been a big console player, and usually those games are like console exclusives,
True.
at least to start. So I usually kind of miss out on those, to be honest.
It's also kind of weird nowadays to pay fucking $60 for a game in 2021. Not gonna lie. Like,
Imagine being
Yikes.
so thrilled as a gamer. Paying full retail price for a game is feels bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just play BDO all the time. It's
Yeah,
just log in. It's I don't have to pay anything.
I
Wink,
wanted to
wink.
play Ghost of
Log in.
Tsushima, right?
It automatically subtracts $500 a month from my bank account. You know, it's easy.
It just, yeah. Get that $200 option a couple times, and it's just, what happened?
What happened exactly? It
Um,
honestly is like with the Pearl system, it is easy to just be like, whoop, $100 gone.
and you justify it because it's like, well, I'm getting bonus pearls, and I'll need them eventually for something, right? And then like a month later, like, where did those go? I bought 100 pearls, like,
Yep.
I don't know, like I feel like the $60 game tag, and apparently they're bumping up to $70 on console now. Is that what they're doing?
I
I
mean,
think.
I wouldn't be surprised. It wasn't the base price of what was that other Dark Souls game that came out?
Mortal Shell.
Yeah, yeah, I think Mortal Shell. The one Moreland played, right?
Yeah,
It was,
Mortal
like,
Shell. Yeah, yeah.
on PS5 release or whatever. But that was like $80 something, right?
Oh wait, no, that was the Dark Souls remake, or Demon Souls remake. Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, yeah, it was Demon Souls remake, yeah. But like the development costs, like I don't know who. Potion, you said that BDO had like a $200 million investment, right, for the game. That's like basic production costs for AAA games now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what it costs with inflation, with developers costing so much. Like the industry has evolved like tremendously that it takes literally an army of people to make games now. So it's freaking expensive. So these companies, like, everybody hates the way it's going with the predatory monetization, stuff like that. The predatory aspect of it, yes, that needs to change, and there needs to be laws about that. But like they're struggling to find ways to properly monetize and actually find return on investments, because even to make like a crappy game, if it's a AAA game, it costs like hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just stupidly expensive.
Yeah, which is also another reason why I feel like MMOs is in its dying state, where it's like, why would you spend, millions to make a good MMO when you could just reskin a battle royale or some shit like that for a fraction of the cost and make more,
Yep. There's no incentive to take risks in the industry anymore. That's pretty much it. That's why you see all the MMO carbon copies being made, because like the WoW model is pinnacle of success in MMOs, so why vary from it, right? Just reskin it, do something new, get a few whales, cash out, and move on.
Yeah, I feel like though a lot of AAA companies feel like they have to make this crazy like big games, and I don't think, like, Valheim is a perfect example that you don't have to make like crazy big AAA games to make an enjoyable game. I feel like there's a really big opportunity for like people who are AAA developers to break down into like 5 small teams, and then have those 5 small teams make like small interesting games and say, hey, like, your job is to monetize this, right? And come up with a fun idea, prototype it, like create approval process, and like make games that are like $20 games. Like example would be was it Hell's Gate, the one that just came out recently, the little isometric game? It's like I can't think of what it's called. It's like you're like the son of Diablo or
This
something
is the
like
one
that.
that won Game of the Year.
Yeah.
What is it called? I can't remember either.
Ah! I'm pulling my Steam. I had to update. Hades.
Yeah, Hades. Yeah. I mean, well, that's the
Oh
thing,
yeah,
like,
Hades. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's a big opportunity there for because a lot of those companies, they want to make a game like that, but they can't because like they don't have like just basic, like don't have like a couple $1 million funding. So I feel like there's an opportunity for big AAA companies to just pump out like a ton of like little small games, and like, empower these indie companies and just bring them into their wings. Like, hey, well, come here, we'll make your game that you want. You did a great job with Hades. You want more money? Come over here, and like, here's the money you need. Like, I feel like there's an opportunity for like indie companies, instead of focusing on making AAA games, they can just do the opposite way and have like 5 indie companies and set up a team for that.
I mean, I kind of disagree because, like, think about Hades, right? So you give some funding, you make a game. It turns out to be like it's a kind of a low investment, lowish risk, um, style project, and then it takes off. And you're like, oh, great, cool, it really paid off. Great job. You're a talented development team now. We're gonna give you our funding. You're gonna be making our flagship games. We're gonna move you to our AAA titles now. You know what I mean? Like if you make a successful game like that, you're gonna get more resources and to do it more. And then for the AAA companies who already have those like standards and expectations set with their users, like they have to kind of poach and get those talented developers so that they can continue pumping out and stay like keep their reputation basically.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess one thing is like if Nintendo can diversify, right, and turn into like a kids company, like why can't that happen with a company deciding we're just going to be the indie company, we're going to be the company of indie games. Like
Steam.
yeah, I mean maybe this. I think this is opportunity there. I'd like to see that because I don't really buy into this whole bigger is better thing when games like Valheim and like Hades can come out and they're really nice and fun.
Yeah, I do agree that some indie games are like crazy knockouts, right? You got stuff like Binding of Isaac. What was that one game? Fuck. It wasn't Ori, was it? Was it Ori? I forget.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah, it was like little stuff like that are crazy popular. There's the one that Moro's been playing lately. Or not playing lately, but he was playing it for a while. Where you have your team and
Darkest Dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon.
Yep.
There was that. Like, there's a bunch of different like indie games that kind of like hit it out the park, right? But I do kind of feel like it's like Vibes is also saying where it's like if you're giving all those resources off the bat and then you're not having to like force to like prove the success, like could you handle the AAA scene, right? Because like Vibe said, a lot of AAA companies have their established like fan base that have a certain level of expectancy, right? So I think there's a little bit there for both sides.
That's
and also
fair.
like think about like yes, these are all the games that we know of and that made it, but think about how many games are like on Steam and out there that just never made it, right? They may have a small like maybe they're sustainable, maybe they've made profit even, but like I don't think it's worthwhile, to your point, pushing for companies to like diversify that much basically. It's probably better to just kind of put it all in one place, make sure that you're making a solid product, rather than kind of crapshoot a bunch of smaller stuff. Because even though Hades and those games were like really successful, they're not gonna, they're like who knows if they've made the same, like even Hades Game of the Year, like that probably made a tidy profit, but it probably it pales in comparison compared to like BDO. You know what I mean?
True.
So like a AAA game is still going to make way more than a Game of the Year, an indie company.
That makes sense, I guess, right? Because big companies just ultimately care about profit, and if you take a game that was successful and quadruple the funds it gets, then it's probably going to pull in 10 times the money. Is like that, at least the philosophy, at least.
There's a lot more because like when you have a AAA game, there's a lot more to it than just the game itself.
Yeah,
there's the
that's
publishing,
fair.
there's the like resources behind it. There's the advertising for it. There's the player-based reach that is pre-existing. There's a whole lot of like business stuff that goes on behind the scenes that also dictates the success of a game, right? Because you could make an amazing game, but if you can't get the word out well enough, then nobody's going to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is it for topics this week. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before we close up?
I think we hit on everything that I had on mine.
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
All right. Well then, what good vibes? Thank you for joining us so much. What do you got going on this week? Tell us. Give yourself a shout out. What you got going on?
Now let's see. Since this podcast, I'm now like 4% away from 63, so I'm gonna hit that this
Hell
week.
yeah.
I don't really stream very often, but I do when I can. So, yeah, I don't know what to say there, but yeah, just gonna be hanging out. It's a pleasure being on the podcast. Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. Kerr, what you got going on this week?
Dude, nothing. More like I'm taking that chemistry summer class, and it's kicking my tail. So I'll be struggling more with that for the next week. I don't know how much BDO I'll play. I'll probably I'll probably try to squeeze in some more because a lot of my hours are just like wasted times where I'm not actually studying. I'm just sitting there accepting the existential dread of fucking chemistry. So I'll probably try to squeeze something in. I did this thing a while back where I let chat vote using channel points for what 2 classes I had to tag. Sork won first, DK won second. We did the Sork tag, and I goofed off on it for a while. Worst PvE experience I've had in the game, right? I fucking hated that. The PvP was decently fun. But we tagged the DK, so I guess I'll be like learning DK here and there in between, the chemistry and shit. So that should be pretty fun.
You're playing DK Awakening or Succession?
I already know that I like Succession, and I don't like Awakening, so I'm gonna force myself to like play Awakening and like learn it and stuff. Try to have some fun with it, and probably both though. Like I paid fucking like 6 billion silver to tag. I might as well play both,
Oh wait, because you get 2 black stars now.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking expensive.
Okay.
Tags hurt, dude.
Hey, we gotta get more tags in here, all right, guys. We'll eventually pay off that pin black star. Yeah, that's actually so expensive. Mine's like 2 bill right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, it starts to scale really fast once you start hitting pin black stars.
Yeah. Well, Kerr, Good Vibes Guy. Thank you guys both for joining. I'm Potion Shop TV. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch. The Spotify for the podcast is not being updated because I'm currently in the process of doing a infinite stream. I've been streaming for about 280 hours, and I have another 300 hours roughly to go, at least. So not getting podcasts uploaded on Spotify for the next little bit, but it is going up on YouTube. As far as what I'm working on, I'm getting, I got 63 Sage last week. I'm getting 64 on my lawn before the new class comes out.
Damn, dude.
We're grinding like a madman. And we're going to turn all that money into 2-pin something. I don't know. Well, we'll figure that out. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with all the money. So pretty busy, but you can always find me. I'll either be sleeping on stream or playing on stream. We do about 15 to 18 hours of gaming a day. And try to sleep as little as possible, but I'm a human, so I hate to sleep, but I gotta do it. That's it for me, though. Thank you again, guys, for joining us. This has been Nerds and Words Podcast, episode 48. We'll see you again next week.